This page showcases the cover of SEGA Saturn magazine. The cover is promoting a special feature called Comic Saturn Maga, highlighting popular manga artists and game creators with 4-panel manga adaptations of SEGA Saturn games. Several games are teased in the text and visuals. Princess Crown is prominently mentioned as a new title. Other games listed include Hitsuji Gumo no Shiro Hoshi Monogatari, which is likely referring to the game Island Story, Sheep Cloud's Home, Lunar Silver Star Story, and Lunar Eternal Blue. There's mention of Solo Crisis, likely Soul Divide, and Real Sound Kaze no Regret. Sonic Jam, J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru 2, J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru of Soccer Club, and Last Bronx are also listed. The text also mentions Daikukai Jidai Gaiden, which translates to Uncharted Waters, New Horizons, and Chaos Seed. Underneath the main titles are smaller mentions of Underground Life, Groove on Fight, and Kidu Senkan Nadesiko, which translates to Martian Successor Nadesiko, posing a question about love being the ultimate victory. The cover art features a group of anime-style characters, likely from the games being highlighted, set against a background that looks like a planet. Overall, the cover promises a fun and informative issue focused on manga adaptations of SEGA Saturn games and previews of upcoming titles. This page highlights the SEGA Saturn game Real Sound, Kaze no Regret. Developed by Warp, this is presented as a unique, audio-based love story game. The page emphasizes that you play this game entirely by listening, completely, without needing to look at the screen. You can see this focus on audio in elements like the braille text featured and the explicit statement confirming it's a sound-only game. Real Sound, Kaze no Regret is slated for release on July 18th for the SEGA Saturn. It comes on 3 Cree drums and will be priced at 6,400 yen before tax. A cute cartoon illustration of a SEGA Saturn controller is also included, reinforcing which console this innovative sound-based game is for. It's a really interesting concept, demonstrating the Saturn's capabilities beyond just visual gaming, with a truly unique sensory experience. Real Sound, Kaze no Regret for the SEGA Saturn is a nostalgic audio game centered around a first love story, designed to evoke bittersweet memories. Players become Hiroshi, experiencing a 10th summer romance with heroines Nana and Mizuki. The game, emphasizing audio over visuals, promises, encounters, pain, and farewells set against evocative soundscapes. Key staff include Ino Kenji, planning and supervision; Sakamoto Yuji, scriptwriter known for TV dramas like Tokyo Love Story; and Suzuki Keiichi, music, known for work with Moonriders and the Mother games. Voice actors include Kashiwabara Takashi, Hiroshi, Tsugano Minako, Nana, and Fujiwara Ryoko, Mizuki, each with prior acting credits. The game aims to deliver a deeply emotional and interactive love story. This page showcases the 15th anniversary edition of Macross, Do You Remember Love? For the SEGA Saturn. The advert emphasizes the game as a battlefield love song, bringing together the characters of Lin Minmei, Hikaru Ichijo, and Misa Hayase. It highlights the game's blend of CG and anime, featuring new animation and promising a realistic battlefield experience. 6.6 on sale indicates a June 6th release date. The screenshots show in-game scenes with mecha action and character interactions. It's advertised as a side-scrolling shooting game for 1 player, coming on 2 Cree-drums with memory backup, priced at 6,800 yen. The illustration is credited to Haruhiko Mikimoto, a well-known name in the Macross universe. This page features a striking illustration that's very reminiscent of the Macross universe. It showcases a beautiful anime-style woman, who appears to be Lin Minmei, based on her design and the context of the previous page discussing Macross, Do You Remember Love? She's holding a microphone and dressed in a stage outfit, reinforcing her role as a singer. This artwork, likely by Haruhiko Mikimoto as mentioned before, really captures the essence of the Macross series, and could be a promotional piece for the 15th anniversary game. The prominent SEGA Saturn logo in the corner clearly links it to the console, making it a visually appealing page for fans of both Macross and the Saturn. It seems to be focusing on the character and artistic style, rather than game details, acting as a nice visual break within the magazine. This page highlights the upcoming release of Digimon 2 for the Sega Saturn. It's a striking advert with the game's title prominently displayed in a bold, stylized font, alongside a large number 2. The page announces the release date as July 18, 1997. It also details 2 versions available: a standard edition priced at 5,800 yen, tax excluded, and a first-run limited edition that comes bundled with a mouse pack, priced at 7,800 yen, tax excluded. The game is being published by Athena, whose company details are at the bottom of the page. The background of the page is a classic 90s wireframe design, fitting with the era of the Sega Saturn. This page is an exciting preview of Digimon 2 coming to Sega Saturn, emphasizing its Yokushu, or horizontal shooting game creation capabilities, not just vertical ones. It boasts that even beginners can easily create games, highlighting the Polymate feature, which seems to be very convenient. The game allows for stages up to 10 screens wide, enabling large and graphically rich creations. It also offers 256 colors to use and an impressive 1029 possible pattern combinations for creating unique visuals and attacks. Animation is also a key feature, with 6 patterns and scaled enemy characters for more dynamic gameplay. For sound, the game supports 4 tracks and 32 bars for music creation, offering detailed sound design possibilities. There's even mention of a grand prize of 1 million yen for contests or events, further encouraging users to explore the game's creation tools. The screenshots showcase the game's interface and some of the graphical possibilities, including enemy and stage design tools. It really pushes the creative aspects of game design on the Sega Saturn. This page is dedicated to Magical Drop 3 for the Sega Saturn, proclaiming itself as a puzzle game revolution. It's advertised as the Fresh Increase Edition and is set for release on June 20, 1997, priced at 5,800 yen. The page is filled with colorful artwork showcasing the game's characters, with 2 large anime-style figures dominating the top half. Below them, a crowd of smaller, Chiba-style characters, likely representing the game's cast. There's mention of a Uritate campaign at the bottom, offering a 3-item gift set as a present for 2,000 lucky people who send in an entry postcard. The deadline for entries is the end of July. Overall, the page is a vibrant and enthusiastic advertisement for this puzzle game, emphasizing its new content and enticing players with a special campaign. This page is the second part of the Anyone Can Understand Magical Drop lecture by Hyper Priestess Sensei, this time focusing on chains in Magical Drop 3. It's a really simple guide that uses manga panels with cute characters to teach you the basics of chaining. They're explaining the fundamental chain shapes and using colored balls to visually demonstrate how to create chain reactions. The tutorial steps you through the process of linking drops and making them disappear, and even gives tips on how to throw the drops to start chains. It's perfect for beginners who are looking to learn how to pull off chain combos in Magical Drop 3. This page showcases the Sega Saturn game Skull Fang, which is described as a maximum scramble battle speed chase shooting game where you're tasked with pursuing a mobile unit. The advert highlights various gameplay mechanics with in-game screenshots, such as performing back attacks and side attacks using special maneuvers. It also mentions using overboost by going full throttle to chase enemies and unleashing a bomber attack against bosses you've cornered. The game was set to be released on May 30, 1997, and priced at 5,800 yen. There's also a promotional campaign celebrating New School Term, New Job, Congratulations, offering a chance to win a mobile phone or a Skull Fang Squad badge as prizes for those who send in questionnaires attached to the game. The next page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Gakuen, an animation school that boasts a 98.62% placement rate for graduates. They emphasize a free and creative school environment, where you can easily acquire official qualifications through their art education program. The school promotes practical skills, stating you'll naturally acquire public qualifications and high-tech skills through their curriculum. The ad highlights several key features, like free one-day trial enrollment and computer aptitude diagnosis called Charisma Map to assess your artistic suitability. They offer various departments including animator, CG animation/game, game designer, multimedia creator, digital paint artist, anime production, BG design, anime operator, voice talent, SFX animation, manga/comic pro creation, and entertainment departments. The ad lists numerous school locations across Japan, including Tokyo, Harajuku, Higashi, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, Sendai, Sapporo, Hiroshima, Okayama, and Okinawa. They also offer free auditions nationwide to discover new voice actors and talents. Scheduled for August in Osaka, September in Nagoya, and November in Tokyo. Contact information, including phone and fax numbers, are provided for inquiries and applications. The tagline emphasizes debuting with a production affiliation rate of 99% and mentions that participation and debut costs are completely free, encouraging applications to the address provided in Tokyo. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game J.League Go Go Goal. It's branded as a SEGA Saturn exclusive soccer game and is currently on sale for a suggested price of 5,800 yen. The game is advertised with taglines like 1/60th of a second heat and 272 of heart, suggesting fast-paced and passionate gameplay. The advert showcases screenshots of in-game action and highlights the inclusion of J.League teams, with various team logos displayed, such as Jeff United and Jubilo Iwata. There's also a promotion running where you can win a signed body towel by League players, with 100 prizes available via an application postcard included in the product. The deadline for application is July 31st. Additionally, the page mentions Tecmo Players Mag and is recruiting subscription members for this Tecmo information magazine, suggesting it might be related to the game or Tecmo's other titles. Contact information for Tecmo Company Limited is provided for inquiries and sales. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Terra Cresta 3D, published by Nichibutsu. It's announcing that Terra Cresta 3D is coming out soon, and there will be a special bonus for early purchasers, with details to be announced in the near future. The game is priced at 6,800 yen, excluding tax. The advert also includes a website address for Nichibutsu and the SEGA Saturn logo, confirming it's for that platform. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn strategy RPG Langrisser IV, highlighting it as the latest in the series and coming soon. The page introduces the character Angelina, providing a short profile about her. Several screenshots are included, giving a glimpse of the game's graphics and gameplay. There's a mention of a special first edition package that includes a Langrisser IV pin badge set and a special fan book for 6,800 yen. Alongside a regular package priced at 5,800 yen. A pre-order campaign is detailed, offering a Langrisser 2i pin badge as a bonus when pre-ordering either Langrisser IV or the special edition of Langrisser I and II at participating stores. The artwork on the page is credited to Satoshi Urushihara, and the game is scheduled for release in July, published by CareerSoft. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn fighting game DXIRD, highlighting it as a super high-speed and 3D battle experience. The advert introduces the DD system, a new system that allows players to utilize the ceiling and walls within the battlefields. It emphasizes a game design that doesn't favor defensive play, encouraging aggressive combat. The text also points out the beautiful techniques and combos achieved through motion capture technology, which are presented as key elements of DXIRD. The game features full combination battles using swords, weapons, and fists, bare hands, aiming for a flowing sense of continuous attacks. Screenshots of the gameplay are displayed, showing characters in combat. The bottom of the page features renders of several characters from the game. The game is advertised as, now on sale, for 5,800 yen, excluding tax. This page is the contents page for SEGA Saturn Magazine Volume 19, dated June 13, 1997. It lists the features inside this issue, starting with page 99, which is a special feature called Comic Saturn Manga, a collection of 4-panel manga comics by popular artists and game creators. Page 81 continues a special series called Saturn's Secret Techniques Complete Capture Part 4, focusing on hidden techniques within Saturn games. Page 26 highlights a special report section covering several games. These include Princess Crown and what seems to be related, Hit's Island Story. Also mentioned is Slayers Royal, Lunar, Silver Star Story Umpeg version, Lunar, Eternal Blue, Chaos Seed, Solo Crisis, Real Sound, Cause No Regret, Sonic Jam, J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru, 2, and Last Bronx. The page also includes an image of a 3D rendered female character holding a sword, likely related to one of the games discussed. Moving on, page 146 is marked as a scoop section titled Phantasm Big Surprise Talk, suggesting an exclusive interview or reveal. Finally, page 155 introduces a new series called Wind Story Island Story Drive Garb's Phantom Thief Society, indicating a new manga or serialized article. This SEGA Saturn magazine page features news and reviews of upcoming and released titles. SEGA Saturn Press highlights new releases like Minton Police Department Investigation File, Beach to Reach, and Marvel Superheroes. Coming Soon Soft announces DX3rd, Baroque, and titles from the Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Remember Love collection. A Soft Complete Guide reviews games like Downhill King Gauntlet and Groove on Fight. Other sections cover games like Virtua Extra and Top Skater, and the results of a Virtua Cop 2 contest. There is a feature on the company Daiwa Seiko and a game index listing page numbers for numerous titles. Additional content includes sections on various aspects of the SEGA Saturn, such as strategies, reviews, schedules, and a reader's present. The page concludes with an image and copyright information. SEGA Saturn fans have several updates. Game releases are shifting to Thursdays starting September 4th to combat weekend sellouts. A summer campaign from June 20th to August 31st offers a cool pad with console and game purchases, excluding specific titles. The third SEGA Saturn Festa in Tokyo Joyopolis on May 18th featured a Virtua Coliseum for SegaNet tournament and Mr. Bones experiences, with upcoming game experiences planned. Upcoming game releases include Sonic Jam, June 20th, Full Car Mini 4, WD Grand Prix 2, July 25th, Super Robot Wars F, July 25th, and Mega Man X4, August 1st. The X-Band Connection section highlighted the Virtua Coliseum for SegaNet tournament finals at Tokyo Joyopolis, with Mr. Tachikawa winning. A correction regarding a previous article is also noted. This page highlights a range of exciting updates for SEGA Saturn fans. Firstly, there's news about upcoming games that will support X-Band online play, including Puyo Puyo Sun, Puzzle Bobble 3, Mini 4 WD Super Factory, and Decathlete. The article also mentions currently available X-Band compatible titles, such as Virtua Fighter Remix, Saturn Bomberman, Sega Rally Championship, Daytona USA Circuit Edition, and Virtual On. There's a report on a sentimental graffiti event featuring 12 cosplayers in school uniforms, which seemed to be a big hit with fans. Moving on, readers have a chance to win mobile phones from Eido and Estelle Tokyo in a special giveaway. For event news, there's an announcement of a party to celebrate the release of Daisuke in Tokyo, promising live performances and game demos. A radio drama adaptation of DX Hired is also in the works and will be broadcast on TBS Radio, with voice actors from the game and a CD release planned. Amok is getting a release campaign with prizes like control pads and power memory for lucky participants. Lastly, there's news of a release event for Dan Sakurazaka's new single, Make You Smile. The page also introduces 4 music CD releases: Lucy by Oyuki Ozaki, Escape Moonchild, Konami All-Star Festa 97, and Sweet Pain by Akiko Nakagawa, each with brief descriptions and release information. This page explores the connections between manga and games, featuring reviews of various publications. Manga adaptations of popular franchises like Sakura Wars, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Tenchi Muyo are highlighted, showcasing their ability to capture the essence of the original works. Neugear 3 is a quirky PC software. Strategy guides include Advanced World War, a guide for a specific game, Sakura Wars Mystery, and J-League Victory Goal, 97 Winning Strategy Guide, and Roommate, Inoue Ryoko Official Guidebook. These guides offer strategic advice, character analysis, and game information. The publications cover a variety of genres and aims, offering something for fans of all types of media. This page showcases the top 15 best-selling SEGA Saturn games in a weekly sales chart. At number 1 is Kakyusei, Lower Class Student, an eroge romance adventure game. In second place is Groove on Fight, Guketsuji Ichizoku 3, a new fighting game. Third place is Martian Successor Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Days, an adventure game based on the anime series. Other notable titles in the top 10 include Professional Baseball Greatest 997, a baseball simulation game at number 4, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, the preceding chapter Zeta's Pulse, an action game ranking 5th, and Fist of the North Star, King of the Spirits 2, a racing fighting hybrid game at number 6. The Convenience Store 2, Let's Manage That Town, a management simulation game, comes in at number 7, followed by Neon Genesis Evangelion's Second Impression, an adventure game, in 8th position. Stake Winner 2, a horse racing simulation game, is at number 9. Rounding out the top 10 is Fighters Megamix, a crossover fighting game. The list continues with games like Puyo Puyo Sun, Sky Target, Sakura Taisen 2, Hanagumi Taisen Columns, and New Theme Park. The reviewer comments briefly on each game, often highlighting gameplay features or genre aspects. It's a snapshot of popular Sega Saturn titles at a specific time. This page is all about user data and arcade game popularity. It kicks off with a top 20 user poll for games they want converted to Saturn, highlighting titles like Vampire Savior at number 1 and Evangelion Girlfriend of Steel at number 2. Other popular games in this chart include Final Fantasy series, House of the Dead, Street Fighter 2i, Dragon Quest series, and Phantasy Star series further down the list. Then there's a Shop Data Top 15 for arcade video games. Virtua Fighter 3 is unsurprisingly at the top, followed by Tekken 3 and Cyber Troopers Virtualon. Street Fighter 2i and Real Bout Fatal Fury Special are also doing well in arcades, along with House of the Dead and Tokyo Wars. The page also spotlights a one-point check game called Armadillo Racing, describing it as a fun and colorful racing game that's easy for anyone to pick up and play, even if you aren't a hardcore gamer. Finally, there's a section called Other Games, featuring Top Skater, which they say is a cool skateboarding game that's gaining popularity fast. Overall, this page gives a snapshot of both home console and arcade game trends at the time. The Sega Saturn's Software Hopefuls Top 30 list is led by Grandia, holding its first place position. Super Robot Taisen Fry remains at number 2, heavily promoted by Banpresto. Sonic Jam rises to 3rd, offering a museum-like Sonic experience. Virtua Fighter 3 and Sentimental Graffiti round out the top 5. The list includes a variety of genres, from RPGs like a Teasel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, and Lunar, Eternal Blue, to fighting games like X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Dead or Alive. Other notable titles include Biohazard, Resident Evil, Real Sound, Kaze no Regret, and Sakura Wars Limited Edition. Pickup Check Game highlights the anticipated Sentimental Graffiti. Other Check, coming soon, previews J-League Pro Soccer Club, Otsukuru 2 and Black Chapter, a potential horror adventure game, with further details on page 62. This page is the Reader's Race Volume 54, a reader-voted ranking for Sega Saturn games. It's an all-soft reader's check and features a table presenting the current game rankings, previous ranks, game titles, genres, and average reader scores. The page explains how the ranking system works, based on readers' 10-point ratings and comments for Saturn games. The OzTable Saturn evaluation section highlights that Underclassmen is currently dominating at number 1 with a score of 9.4 points. It mentions that, despite strong competition from Sakura Wars and Eve Burst Error, Underclassmen has maintained its top position since its debut the previous week. The article also notes the close competition, with Sakura Wars being only slightly behind. There are screenshots included. One appears to be from a visual novel-style game, and another looks like a shooting game scene. The overall content is about the current popularity and reader opinions on various Sega Saturn titles. This page continues the Reader's Race rankings and introduces some new game reviews. The first game highlighted is Angelic Special 2, praised for enhanced romance elements and positive player feedback, particularly improvements to training and daily events. Reviewers liked the changes to the player character's personality. Next up is Area 51, which is considered a solid arcade port with responsive controls and fast-paced shooting action. However, the thrill is noted to be somewhat short-lived. Sankyo Fever Practical Simulation S, a pachinko simulator, gets a mixed review, with graphics slightly below the PlayStation version and clunky controls on a standard pad. Reviewers found it difficult to play without a dedicated controller, and noted some inaccuracies in the simulation. Wolffang 2001 is described as having a simple story but good voice acting. While wanting more depth, reviewers appreciated the fast-paced gameplay and unlimited continues. For story and weapon focus, they recommend Raymanos 2 instead. Roadrunner Extra appeals to nostalgia, but reviewers noticed system changes and wished for better graphics, finding the puzzles tedious. Lastly, King of the Spirits 2, a racing game, is criticized for its short battles and poor course design, lacking straights and having narrow roads, despite good weather and car settings. On the right, there's a continuation of the Saturn B ranking table, listing more games, their genres, and reader scores. It seems to be a long list of games ranked by popularity. This page continues the SEGA Saturn reader rankings, specifically for the C category games. It also introduces some new game reviews. 2 new games are featured. Aqua World, Sea Beauty Story, which, despite being new and ranked 423rd, is noted for decent ideas, but suffers from rough graphics and clunky controls, ultimately feeling somewhat incomplete. The other new title, Lapyrus Panic, a cute puzzle game ranked 462nd, is praised for appealing to voice actor fans, but criticized for easy gameplay that lacks depth, becoming repetitive quickly. The page also has commentary about the fluctuating rankings of mid-tier new games this week, describing it as a black hole, attracting many new entries in the C ranking. The Saturn B ranking table continues on this page as well, listing more games and their scores. Among the games listed in the ranking tables are titles like Ninku, Warriors of the Sky, True Pinball, Wanchai Connection, Advance vs. G, World Cup Golf, Hat Trick Hero S, Fist of the North Star, Revolution X, Johnny Bazooka, Darkseid, Rise of the Robots 2, Chaos Control, Planet Joker, Sailor Moon Supers, Various Emotion, Death Crimson, and many more, demonstrating a wide variety of game genres and popularity within the Saturn library according to reader votes. This page previews upcoming games and peripherals, and keeps readers engaged with prediction contests and prizes. We've got a sneak peek at games like Groove on Fight, a fighter, Free Talk Studio, Mari's Carefree Chat, an adventure game, The Crow, an action title, and Space Jam, a sports game, each with reviewer scores out of 10. The page also features a ranking of SEGA Saturn peripherals based on reader votes, highlighting popular items like the Virtuastick Pro and SEGA Saturn keyboard. It seems like they're gearing up for June's software releases and keeping the reader races exciting. There are 2 prediction games for readers. One is about predicting the ranking position of the game Eberouge in the next issue's charts. The other is about guessing the reader average score for Skullfang Kuga Gaire. Correct guesses win prizes. Speaking of prizes, they are giving away peripheral bundles like power memory and joysticks, cordless pads and software to lucky participants. They are really encouraging readers to participate by rating games and making predictions. This page is all about the exciting upcoming action RPG Princess Crown, a collaboration between SEGA and Atlus, described as a versus fighting action RPG masterpiece. They are really hyping it up as a brand new type of action RPG, breaking the mold with fighting game elements and a focus on strategic combat. The special report section gives us some key details. It's from Atlus, slated for release in late July, is an action RPG, and is single-player only, suitable for all ages. The screenshots showcase the game's action, showing characters battling enemies, with health bars and levels visible. One of the lower screenshots even mentions, "Basilisk is frozen," hinting at some interesting combat mechanics or status effects in the game. It looks like they are really focusing on showing off the gameplay and exciting features of this title. This page focuses on the characters and world of Atlus's action RPG, Princess Crown. The game introduces 3 key characters: Gradriel de Valendia, the 13-year-old Elf-Iranian princess of Valencia, destined to be queen; Corinne, the dependable leader of the Card Knights; and Jesnai, the wise palace magician who has served the royal family for generations. The article also highlights the game's detailed visuals, showcasing smoothly animated characters and action screenshots of battles and exploration. A round-Earth map reveals the expansive world with locations like Valencia Land, Dragon's Heaven, and Kuril, promising a grand adventure. The tagline emphasizes the start of a grand journey within this world. This page continues to showcase Princess Crown, focusing on its impressive battle scenes and characters. The game boasts incredibly smooth animations for its large characters, achieved through morphing technology, resulting in a staggering 15,000 animation patterns. The battle system is described as more akin to a fighting game than a standard action RPG, offering deep and engaging combat with these visually impressive, large characters. The main character, Gradriel, is shown again, and we are introduced to some sub-characters. Dragon Slayer Edward Gloucester, a 16-year-old who, driven by his lineage and the desire to defy his father, aims to kill him. Then there is Port Killigus Crawford, a skilled fencer known as the Pirate of the Sea, with a hidden dark past, despite his outwardly cheerful demeanor. The next page dives deeper into Princess Crown's unique battle system, calling it both easy to understand and deep. It emphasizes that the combat is a key element of the game. The page highlights several core mechanics. The power gauge, which depletes with actions and recovers over time, becoming critical for strategic play as running out temporarily disables actions. Evasion is crucial with two types: backsteps and sidesteps, selectable after pressing the evade button, which pauses the action. Items are accessed through an item ring when the item button is pressed, offering a variety of effects, some of which change with repeated use. Finally, special moves are mentioned as being significantly more powerful than regular attacks, but consume a substantial amount of power gauge, with details about their types and commands currently a mystery. The page also introduces Proserpina, a spirited 10-year-old magical girl who, while aiming to aid, might occasionally obstruct Gradriel's progress. Atlas comments highlight the morphing system as key to character expression, and reiterate the focus on the story not just for Gradriel, but also for supporting characters like Edward and Port Killigus, reinforcing the joint development by SEGA and Atlas. This page is an interview with Shinji Futami from Enix's software planning department about their upcoming SEGA Saturn title, Story of the Island of Seven Winds, which he mentions is their first Saturn software release. Futami expresses his excitement for the project, highlighting it as a suitable title to kick off Enix's Saturn ventures and conveying strong confidence in it. He emphasizes the importance of collaboration with the director, who he names as Director Amemiya, in creating the game and bringing fresh ideas to the industry, which he feels is somewhat stagnant. Futami stresses Enix's philosophy of prioritizing engaging gameplay over purely commercial success, desiring to create games that players genuinely enjoy. He also mentions the creative freedom afforded at Enix, allowing him to bring new and stimulating content to players. He notes his enjoyment in working with director Amemiya, finding weekly meetings with him a pleasure. The game itself is labeled as an adventure title, and is slated for release this autumn, though the price is yet to be determined, and it's aimed at all ages. Futami also mentions his past work, including producing Super Famicom titles like Tenchi Suzu, known internationally as Soul Blazer, indicating his experience in game production. He hopes people will experience the game firsthand. This page continues the interview with Tadashi Honda from Enix, correcting the name from the previous page. He's talking about Story of the Island of Seven Winds, and highlights the game's unique animation style, describing it as multi-joint animation, which makes characters move smoothly and expressively, even for all characters in the game, not just the main character, Garupu Doctor. He mentions they cleverly reuse parts in the character designs too. The game is all about recreating the beautiful world of director Amiya's picture books in a game format. You'll explore a layered island with homes and cave entrances, meeting island residents, and experiencing various events as the story unfolds. It's not just a typical puzzle adventure game. A core element is interacting and befriending the islanders, who might even help you on your journey. Honda emphasizes director Amiya's immense dedication to the project, showcased by the sheer volume of planning documents, filled with scenario outlines, event ideas, and hand-drawn illustrations. He reiterates that Story of the Island of Seven Winds marks Enix's first foray into SEGA Saturn software, and he's determined to make a strong impact. Honda is passionate about injecting fresh ideas into the gaming world, prioritizing engaging gameplay over purely commercial success. He values the creative freedom Enix offers, and enjoys the collaborative process with director Amemiya, mentioning their productive weekly meetings and shared enthusiasm for the game. This page continues the interview with Mr. Honda from Enix, still discussing Story of the Island of Seven Winds. He explains that while it's Enix's first Klydrom title, their focus is on creating a genuinely fun game with value fitting for the new media format, rather than just being on Klydrom. He points out that the game's design is specific to the Sega Saturn hardware and wouldn't be possible on Nintendo 64 or PlayStation due to hardware limitations. Honda elaborates on gameplay, mentioning it's more than just walking and jumping. Players can move across layered environments and interact with the scenery, like cutting through grass in the path, potentially requiring items. He emphasizes director Amemiya's close involvement, personally checking the graphics to ensure they capture the picture book-like quality. Confirming the genre, Honda reiterates that Story of the Island of Seven Winds is a non-combat RPG, moving away from typical adventure game conventions. Looking ahead, he hints at more titles in development and expresses gratitude for Sega's supportive role in bringing Enix's vision to life. He concludes by positioning Enix as a company striving to release unique and innovative software, even if it means taking risks, and he is excited about Enix's software lineup for the year. This page is a special report focusing on the Sega Saturn game Slayers Royal. It's mentioned that the game, based on the popular Slayers anime, is an original story supervised by the original creator, Mr. Kanzaka. The article highlights the game's introduction and reveals a key scene, a familiar dining scene, a staple in the Slayers series. We see Lena and Guri in a restaurant in a town called Lukewood, enjoying a meal. Suddenly, they are interrupted by a very recognizable and annoying high-pitched laugh. It's Naga! The article describes this reunion as being quite sudden. Naga is introduced as Lena's self-proclaimed eternal rival, a powerful but hard-to-control sorceress, described as troublesome even when on your side. The page also touches on in-game rumors. There are snippets of conversations where townsfolk discuss strange occurrences, like the southern sky turning red and sightings of elves in the forest south of town. The reviewer notes that Guri remains unfazed by Naga's appearance, seemingly not thinking much of it. Overall, the page sets the stage for the game's story, emphasizing the unexpected reunion with Naga and hinting at intriguing rumors that will likely drive the plot forward. This page follows on from the last and continues the story of Slayers Royal. After leaving Lukewood, Lena and Gary head towards Parkland City because of some strange happenings. On their way, they stumble upon an elf boy being attacked by monsters. They rescue him and learn his name is Lark. Lark explains that he is on a quest related to a legend passed down among elves about the treasure of Rosarium. He believes his pendant is key to this and is heading to Gramstock to find out more. Lena, intrigued by the legend and maybe the treasure, decides to help Lark, and they all head to Gramstock together. The page also touches on the battle system, showing a fight in progress. We get to see Lark in action using his fireball magic, described as a mid-level spell with beautiful light trails. The developers mention they are working hard on the battle system and balancing the difficulty, especially because Lena is so powerful. They're also trying to capture the over-the-top feel of the original Slayers series in the gameplay. This page continues the story of Lena's adventures in Slayers Royal. It seems Lena's motivations are mostly driven by profit, as Guri points out that she's taking on a job that doesn't seem to be paying well. Lena, however, reveals she has her own angle, implying there's a good reason for her actions related to the Rosarium treasure. There's a funny dialogue scene where Lena and Gary are in an inn, and Lena is being a bit sneaky about the inn fees. Guri comments that maybe he shouldn't have heard about the Rosarium treasure at all. The next section reveals that Naga has disappeared in the morning. Lena isn't too worried, figuring Naga is likely off scheming to grab the treasure for herself later. It's mentioned that their journey has just begun, and Naga's future movements are something to keep an eye on. The page then details two characters' special moves in battle: Amelia's Icebind Bullet and Naga's Flare Ball. Amelia's Icebind Bullet is a water-based spell that freezes enemies in place, dealing damage. It's described as visually impressive, with a ring-like effect. Naga's Flare Ball is a fire-based spell, a more powerful area effect version of Fireball, capable of damaging even stone enemies. The text implies Naga's magic is quite strong, perhaps too strong for someone who seems a bit unreliable. But maybe it will all be okay in the end. Lunar Silver Star Story Complete is coming to Sega Saturn in a limited edition MPEG format. This version, available since October, is a must-have for fans, boasting higher quality and full-screen anime scenes. The game introduces newcomers to the world, starting in Berg with protagonist Alex, who embarks on a journey with friends Ramus, Luna, and Null. Their adventure begins at the White Dragon Cave, but takes a turn when the Magic Emperor appears, leading to Luna's kidnapping and Alex's vow to rescue her. Screenshots showcase gameplay and character dialogue, with approximately 50 minutes of visual scenes. The MPEG edition, requiring an RPG movie card or twin operator, releases on June 27th for 6,800 yen from GameArts. This page continues the focus on the MPEG version of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, highlighting the visual differences between the standard and MPEG editions. The article emphasizes that the MPEG version offers superior picture quality for the anime cutscenes and allows for full-screen display. It points out that the clarity is so much better, it's practically a perfect version compared to the standard edition, and gets rid of pixelated edges. A key feature exclusive to the MPEG edition is the inclusion of trading cards, described as bromides, that are very trendy. Adding to the appeal, there is a contest where 3 lucky winners can receive a video CD and photo CD twin operator from Victor Company to fully enjoy the MPEG format. The page showcases a selection of these trading cards, numbered 121 through 130, featuring various attractive female characters from the Lunar universe. To enter the contest, readers need to send a postcard with their details and thoughts on Lunar to the magazine's address before the deadline on June 13th. Get ready, Lunar fans! Lunar Eternal Blue is coming to the SEGA Saturn within the year, courtesy of Kadokawa Shoten and GameArts. This all-ages RPG is currently 50% complete and promises a significantly upgraded experience. Visuals are being completely revamped for the Saturn, with redrawn anime scenes and a focus on heroine Lucia. The original voice cast returns. The story will be enhanced, while the battle system will remain similar to the Mega CD version. Expect familiar faces like Hyro, Ruby, Jean, Lemona, and Lucia. The soundtrack will include original themes, new compositions, and potentially orchestral arrangements. Dungeons are expanding, and the graphics are a major improvement. This version aims to deliver an emotional, tear-jerking experience, possibly releasing in late 1996. This page delves into Solo Crisis, a simulation game in development by Quintet, planned for a summer release. Although the price is still to be determined, it's a single-player game suitable for all ages, currently at 35% completion. The article highlights the game's core concept, home, which is central to the lives and stories of the people. It introduces the game's world setting, divided into 2 layers: the surface world, ruled by gods, and the reverse world, inhabited by demons. Players will experience these contrasting worlds. The surface world seems peaceful, with towns and rivers in the screenshot. The reverse world screenshot shows a darker, more ominous landscape, with purple tones and castle-like structures. The game is about the conflict between these worlds, where the player seems to become a god in the reverse world to fight against demons. The developer's comments section describes Solo Crisis as a clear-type simulation RPG set in a world split into surface and reverse sides. It mentions that the game features 13 different surfaces and that situations and gimmicks will vary. The developers are emphasizing the mystery of the story, encouraging players to decipher and register words found in the game to unlock its secrets and enjoy the unfolding RPG elements. They mention that even if the demon stories are confusing at first, players should enjoy the game's atmosphere. They also jokingly mention they might have created a perfect puzzle book in the game. Buildings are fundamental in Solo Crisis, granted by gods to increase faith and power. Players construct and evolve structures like walls and houses, each offering different capacities and defenses. Structures range from the basic straw house to the advanced castle fortress, offering varying levels of protection and capacity. Each type of building has unique strengths and weaknesses. For example, wooden houses are flammable, while stone houses are resistant to fire. The game also introduces mysterious buildings built by monsters, adding an element of intrigue. The developers emphasize the strategic depth of building, highlighting factors like material properties, fire risks, and defensive strategies, suggesting puzzle-like challenges in construction, as well as integrating the relationship between the surface and reverse worlds. In an interview regarding Solo Crisis, Quintet Vice President Mr. Miyazaki discusses the game's development, emphasizing strategic surface design and the interconnectedness of the surface and reverse worlds. Homes, acting as population boosters and symbols of faith/power, are a key strategic element, with players choosing between numerous low-level or fewer high-level structures. The game prioritizes replayability and features turn-based gameplay with unpredictable events, like natural disasters. Battles pit gods against demons in a 1vs1 format, with monsters possessing human-like structural elements. Miyazaki highlights the game's unique approach, aiming to create something exclusive to consoles, particularly through the surface and reverse world mechanic. He hints at deeper systems and monster lore, seeking player feedback for refinement, and potentially incorporating voice guidance. The goal is to craft an experience impossible on tabletop formats. This page introduces Chaos Seed, an intriguing dungeon exploration game where you play as a Dowsen, a cave hermit with unique abilities. The game world is based on the concept of ki energy flowing through the land and within people. Dowsen are special individuals who control the Earth's ki, aiming to restore weakened ki in the land as their daily task. The game features a feng shui system called kazesui, which uses 5 elements: earth, gold, fire, wood, and water, influencing the dungeon's rooms. Each room has an element, impacting gameplay. For instance, connecting fire to water rooms creates negative effects, while connecting wood to water rooms enhances abilities. The elements and their relationships define the strategic dungeon building aspect of the game. The developer comments mention that the inspiration came from childhood experiences of digging holes and exploring caves. They aim to create a game unlike anything else, focusing on the unique dungeon exploration and hermit aspects, drawing from the Mew magazine for occult knowledge and ancient books for inspiration. The page also highlights it's a Saturn game slated for a September 26th release, priced at 5,800 yen. It's described as a dungeon creation simulation with full-age target audience and is for one player only. Chaos Seed centers on Dutenfuku, a utopian land powered by ki energy and inspired by ancient Chinese concepts, where players, as Dowsen, strive to restore this dwindling energy. The game emphasizes managing Ryumyaku, dragon veins, the Earth's ki pathways. Disruptions to these veins weaken the land, forming the core gameplay. A glossary explains vital terms: ki, energy; sendan, essential resources; hiten seki, helpful items; sendu, Dowsen training; and ryuketsu, dragon vein holes, key areas. An advertisement promotes a Chaos Seed Fanbook Game Show Edition giveaway, featuring illustrations and developer insights. The game also encourages fan submissions for a Chaos Seed Overspill Fan Club Dungeon Journal Volume 1. The Saturn version of Chaos Seed features a laid-back, cheerful protagonist. A cave hermit uninterested in anything beyond dragon veins. He's a bit of a troublemaker, often clashing with the heroine, but asks for the player's support. The heroine is a bright and determined girl who initially dislikes cave hermits, but grows to understand and appreciate the protagonist after he rescues her. She's adaptable, a good cook, and develops affection for him. Accompanying this introduction is a humorous manga strip, Cave Hermit Diary. It depicts the protagonist's daily grind, digging holes in a desert while complaining to his master. The master espouses the noble ideals of cave hermits, creating a funny contrast with the protagonist's relatable struggles and thoughts of quitting. The Chaos Seed introduction presents several characters. Ryurai, a brilliant general known as Dragon Thunder, is a composed strategist. Sakai Roshi, the protagonist's detached master, enjoys hermit treasures and flowers. Kume Akari, a skilled martial artist seeking revenge for her father's death, uses the Genbu fist style and has a kind heart despite her rough exterior. The author, Funato Akari, highlights enhanced character individuality in the Saturn version, though he advises playing it instead of the Super Famicom version, citing minor changes. He also showcases his author profile, noting his previous works. Manga panels depict the master scolding the protagonist for clumsiness in creating a labyrinth, demonstrating earth magic with minimal results, and finally the protagonist offering a drink to a girl. This page is all about Fighter's History Dynamite on the SEGA Saturn, calling it a complete port of the arcade game and highlighting its key features. It mentions the game starts with an opening demo and title screen before you can pick from 3 different game modes, including modes to play against the CPU or another player. The controls are described as simple, using the directional pad for movement and defense, and buttons for attacks. It mentions there are standard punch and kick attacks, as well as special moves that require button combinations. The button layout can even be customized in the options. The CPU battles are described as getting progressively harder as you defeat opponents, and the versus mode is for playing against another person. The rules explain that the goal is to deplete your opponent's health bar, with matches being best 2 out of 3 rounds. Blocking attacks is possible, but you'll still take a little damage.
Finally, the page introduces 3 characters, Lamax Gall, Ryoko Kano, and Samchai Tomyamgun.
This guide to Fighter's History Dynamite provides advanced strategies for gameplay. It covers attack methods, movement, and exploiting character weaknesses. Attack methods include understanding the difference between weak and strong attacks, and strategically using character-specific special moves, which are powerful but leave you vulnerable when blocked. Movement involves basic jumps for offense and defense, and backsteps for evasion and distancing, with jumps limited in attack options and guard abilities. A critical element is targeting each character's specific weak point, aiming for areas like the head or legs, which, when hit repeatedly, can lead to a stun. The guide aims to elevate players to a skilled mania level by mastering these nuances. Short character bios add flavor, promoting a deeper understanding of the game.
This page is all about Sonic Jam. It's diving deep into the Sonic world and exploring the history of Sonic, movies, and tons of other content. The page highlights 2 key areas, the Hall of Fame and the movie theater, both promising to reveal secrets and offer a comprehensive look at Sonic's universe. The Hall of Fame seems to be a chronological journey through Sonic's history, showcasing game data from Japanese, American, and European versions. It mentions game release dates, packaging, and even screenshots, plus stories about major Sonic events and news. The article asks, Sonic Legacy Stories, did you know? Suggesting it's uncovering some hidden facts. Then there's the Sonic History Digest, which looks back at 7 years of Sonic history. It highlights key moments from 1990 to 1991, like the Sonic Project, starting in April 1990, and the release of Sonic the Hedgehog in June 1991. It also mentions a Dreams Come True concert tour and OVA Sonic the Hedgehog rental release. The page also talks about Sonic's venture into sports, like Sega sponsoring J-League and the Gen United Ichihara football team in Japan, with Sonic even appearing on the uniform. In England, Sega sponsored the Donington Grand Prix, with Sonic branding featured throughout the course. The article emphasizes Sonic's role as a global character, representing speed in sports and entertainment. Overall, it's a celebration of Sonic's rich history and impact.
This page delves into the movie theater section of Sonic Jam, which is like a museum showcasing Sonic's video history. It's packed with content you can watch, beyond just playing games. First up, there's the Sonic CD movie area, featuring the full opening and ending animations from Sonic CD, remastered without the frame drops that were present on the original Mega CD. They've also included a preview of an original video animation, offering a sneak peek at a standalone Sonic animation project. Then, there's Sonic the Animation, a kind of pilot episode combining CG and traditional animation. It seems to feature Eggman causing chaos in a town after transforming into Sonic, and it teases that the story might continue. Another highlight is Sonic the Ride, a previously unreleased CG movie from 1994 created by AM3, showcasing Sonic in a full CG world for the first time. They've also completely packed in TV commercials from the Sonic series, covering classics like Sonic 1 through 3, Sonic Spinball, Sonic CD, and Sonic Triple Trouble. Finally, there's a timeline of Sonic events from 1993 to 1996, including the Sega/Cherry Coke Summer Tour in the US, Sonic's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade appearance as a giant balloon,
the release of Tails and the Music Maker, MTV's Rock the Rock event, and the release of Sonic 3D Blast across different regions and consoles. It's a real treasure trove of Sonic video content.
Let's make a J.League Pro Soccer Club. 2 is a soccer club management simulation focusing on hometown development. The sequel expands on the original by allowing players to not only manage the team, but also develop the surrounding town. Players can gather fan opinions, invest in stadium facilities and local businesses, and visually track town growth. Key features include stadium commands like Supporters Club for fan management, stadium investment for facility upgrades, local investment for town development, and hometown data for analyzing local demographics. Interviews with the planner and programmer reveal a game approximately 30% complete. They emphasize the importance of community engagement and the realistic portrayal of Japanese clubs' focus on local areas. The game promises a deeper management experience with increased fan interaction and a strong emphasis on the club's relationship with the surrounding town.
Let's make a J.League Pro Soccer Club. 2 introduces exciting new features. Players can now be exported via personal passwords, facilitating easy trading with friends. Returning players can also be imported back into your own club. The game emphasizes dream team creation, allowing players to customize and scout talent from other teams. Shared player data enables collaborative club building, though transfer fees are mentioned. Hometown options have been expanded to over 1,200, including specific districts, offering detailed location customization. Developer interviews reveal features like player nicknames and distinctions between real estate and finance investments. The developers aim for an enjoyable experience for all players, with many hidden features, and jokingly warn users to protect their passwords. Last Bronx, a fighting game for the Sega Saturn, is slated for release on July 25th. The game, notable for being the first 2CD fighting game on the platform, will retail for 6,800 yen and supports versus play, suitable for all ages. An interview with producer Mr. Nobuyoshi Abe reveals the development progress. The arcade port is 50% complete, with additional Saturn-exclusive features planned. The 2 Candelas format is due to the arcade version's large data volume, ensuring a complete port with original content. Despite the format, no disc swapping will be required during gameplay. The Saturn version will also include Continues, a fan-requested feature. The developers are adjusting the Continue system for a user-friendly experience. Further details about the game's content, including character reveals, are forthcoming. This page is all about the reveal of Red Eye, who is announced as the 9th and final boss character in Last Bronx. The page highlights him as the last boss who appears at the end of the stage and wields a unique tonfa weapon. He's described as a mysterious man donning strange goggles, and while his fighting style might seem similar to other characters, his power is on a different level. He unleashes a variety of unpredictable moves, and the text even mentions his powerful combos being described as unexpected for a boss character, hinting at his formidable strength. There's a quote from him too, "Weak, weak, weak, Samara weak," which could be his catchphrase. The page uses screenshots of the game in action to showcase Red Eye in combat, and mentions the Saturn version of Red Eye's moves being even more refined, suggesting he'll be a tough opponent in the home console release. It looks like this page is building anticipation for Last Bronx by showcasing its final, powerful boss character. This page delves into the background story of Last Bronx and focuses on the legendary team Soul Crew and the quest for Tokyo domination. It explains that the leader of Soul Crew, a symbol of peace and justice, was assassinated, leading to the team's disbandment and sparking conflict. The page introduces key characters within this narrative, including Oyato, the former number 2 of Soul Crew and rival to Lival, who formed the Shinjuku Mad Team after leaving. We also meet Lisa Kusakabe from Orchids, a drummer and student of the Kusakabe Dojo, who is shown in screenshots and described as having a complex personality due to her upbringing by her grandfather. Finally, Daisuke Goda from Helter Skelter is introduced as a disciple, highlighting the relationships and factions within the world of Last Bronx and setting the stage for the battles to come. The page seems to be setting up the narrative context and character relationships that drive the game's story. This page delves deeper into the character relationships within Last Bronx, especially those connected to the Soul Crew. It highlights Kyoko Asahina, leader of the Dogma team, who is described as having a unique and somewhat warped worldview, believing men should serve women. She is linked as a child to Guzu Huju, the head of the powerful Huju financial group, mentioned as her father. We then meet Yuji Kudo, a former member of the Soul Crew, who has now formed his own team called Neo Soul. Tohru Kurosawa from the Roppongi Beast Association is also introduced and is noted to have a strong dislike, potentially related to Yujenko. The page then focuses on the siblings Ken and Yuko Haruno from the Big Troops team. Ken, the leader, was seriously injured by a mysterious figure named Red Rum, forcing Yuko to step in and take his place in the tournament. Finally, Red Rum is mentioned as a figure shrouded in mystery who appears at the end of the tournament, sparking curiosity and raising many questions. At the bottom of the page, there's an advert for a live-action movie adaptation of Last Bronx called Last Bronx v Cinema, with a release date set for June 13, 1997. This page introduces us to the first protagonist in the game Street, named Amane Kasuma. We learn that in Street, there are 8 protagonists in total, each with their own scenario crafted by different writers, including Hiramatsu Masaki, who is responsible for Kasuma's story. The narrative for Kasuma begins on October 11th and unfolds over 5 days,
promising players a turbulent experience. The page highlights Scene 1, set in Shibuya, where Kasuma, a police officer from the Shibuya Central Police Station, encounters a mysterious message on Aurora Vision while patrolling with his senior colleague, Mashio Shiori. This message is perceived by Kasuma as a bombing prediction. The scenario writer, Hiramatsu, explains that the message is designed to have multiple layers of meaning, intending to make players think deeply. Further down, we get character profiles. Amane Kasuma, a 25-year-old police officer, is described as an otaku who enjoys coffee milk. Hiramatsu portrays him as someone who might seem ordinary, but is capable when necessary. Mashio Shiori, age 26, is Kasuma's admired senior colleague, considered the flower of the workplace. Initially intended as a minor character, she gained importance in the story. Finally, Genda Genzo, a 35-year-old senior detective nicknamed Goroichi, is Kasuma's boss and mentor. Hiramatsu describes him as a strict but dependable figure, like a demon to Kasuma, but ultimately, someone Kasuma relies on. In Street, Scene 2 unveils a misinterpreted message, initially thought to predict a bombing, revealed as an advertisement for a TV drama. Despite the misunderstanding, Kasuma receives a reprimand, causing him anxiety. Scene 3 introduces Geronimo, Shakit's devil, a skilled gamer and rumored cracker, whom Kasuma encounters in an arcade. Kasuma loses to Geronimo, acknowledging his opponent's skill. Scene 4 clarifies the message was a real bombing prediction, unrelated to the drama. Character introductions include Numata Takeyoshi, Suma-san, Kasuma's confidant, Tsuchiya Toshiro, Guy, a trusted friend, Geronimo, Shakite's devil, a mysterious and dangerous character, and the master, owner of the arcade, and a close friend of Kasuma. This page moves on to Scene 5, where the Shibuya Central Station receives a fax message. This turns out to be a real bombing prediction, sent to all fax machines in the Shibuya Central Station. The message is presented as a quiz question, asking, Q1, if you want to mix dirt, operate your brain. This is the first question from the bomber. Following this, we see Challenge 1, Genius Quiz. Kasuma and Shibori are tackling a quiz game called Tensai Quiz. Interestingly, the police mascot character, Papi-kun, who shouldn't normally be in the game, has appeared on screen. Scene 6 reveals that the bomb countdown has started. The story quickly shifts to Challenge 2, UFO Catcher. Kasuma, armed with only 300 yen, is now playing a UFO catcher game. It seems the bomber has planted the bomb inside a Papi-kun plush toy within the UFO catcher machine. Kasuma is determined to grab the Papi-kun doll before time runs out, believing it holds the key to stopping the bomb. He's confident in his UFO catcher skills and is going for it. This page showcases more exciting scenes from the game Machi. Scene 7 is titled Red or Blue, and the timer is about to hit 0. We see Kima in a tense situation, seemingly needing to decide which wire to cut to defuse a bomb, red or blue. The text emphasizes the urgency and the difficult choice he faces. Scene 8, Scene of Glory's Injury, reveals that despite managing to stop the bomb, Kima still gets injured in the arm by a small explosion. It's clarified that the culprit wasn't just messing around, but genuinely intended to cause an explosion. Scene 9, Such a Fool, shows Kima being called a fool by Gonichi. Apparently, someone saw Gay loitering near the control room of the Aurora Vision. It seems Gay, Kima's pal from his band days, is suspected of being the culprit. Kima seems to be in denial about Gay's involvement, but the police are bringing Gay in for questioning. Finally, there's a Check 2 section, focusing on human relationships crossing in Shibuya Central Station, and introduces Inoi Detective. He's described as a veteran detective from Shibuya Central Station, who mainly appears in the scenarios of Ushio and Masami. He's a bit of a goofy and easygoing character, despite his experience. He's mentioned to make a special appearance in the latter half of Keima's scenario, suggesting the different scenarios in Machi intersect, and characters from other stories can pop up in unexpected places. This page delves into the scenario creation for the game Machi, highlighting its criminal and detective themes, and hinting at unexpected twists in the plot. It seems to be an interview with someone deeply involved in the game's writing, specifically focusing on the scenario for Keima,
The headline emphasizes criminal stuff being hot and teases a surprising culprit in the 18th episode. The interview section, titled Debut Work Machi, rewritten more than 10 times, reveals the extensive effort put into crafting the game's story. The interviewer and interviewee discuss the scenario writing process, character development, and the overall creative journey of making Machi. They touch on the initial plot ideas, character types, and the evolution of the story. There's mention of coffee milk being a recurring element or theme, and it seems that the character Inouye Detective, who we learned about on the previous page, appears again and plays a role in Kima's scenario and others, showcasing the interconnected nature of the stories within Machi. The conversation implies that the development process was iterative, with significant changes and rewrites occurring throughout, even referencing adjustments to in-game elements based on feedback and the changing trends in games of the time. The interview suggests a dedication to creating a compelling and layered narrative for Machi. The next page continues the interview, now focusing on Hidekazu Nagasaka, who is credited as the original creator, scriptwriter, and supervisor for Machi. The interview section starts by boasting that Machi alone has enough interesting content to rival any Japanese movie or drama. Nagasaka talks about the scenario creation process, mentioning that for the Kama scenario, Hirata wrote the initial draft focusing on the puzzle of who the criminal is, and Nagasaka later refined and expanded upon it, emphasizing the human drama aspect and adding unexpected twists. He mentions the importance of conveying information to the player through various gameplay mechanics and scenarios, using puzzles and hints to guide them to the truth. He also discusses the iterative nature of game development, highlighting the extensive rewrites and changes made during the process. A Check 3 section announces a scenario written by Masami Ushio, a former Yakuza, is coming soon, and hints at the dramatic fate that awaits in his scenario. The page also includes screenshots from Machi, showing various characters and scenes, further illustrating the game's narrative focus and visual style. Nagasaka seems very confident in the quality and ambition of Machi, even comparing its scale to a whole building, suggesting a very large and deep game experience. He mentions that they aim to create a game that is not just fun, but also deeply engaging and comparable to high-quality movies or dramas. This page spotlights the Sega Saturn game Kuro no Danshu, which translates to Black Fragment, or Fragment of Black, a hard-boiled modern horror adventure rooted in the Cthulhu mythos. It's advertised as 80% complete and targets adult players, being rated 18+. The game promises suspense and horror, with a focus on detailed graphics featuring 32,000 colors, realistic visuals, and voice acting to enhance the experience. The story revolves around Detective Kyuzaki Satoshi and psychologist Kusaba, who get entangled in a series of bizarre murders. The preview introduces Kyuzaki, who runs his office in a mansion, and Kashiwagi Akika, who seems to be connected to him, possibly as an assistant or ward. The plot kicks off with a gruesome murder of a 4-person family in the very mansion housing Kyuzaki's office. Though not officially requested, Kyuzaki begins his own investigation into what appears to be a string of strange killings. The page also features a section explaining the Cthulhu mythos, highlighting its influence on literature and occultism, suggesting that while knowledge of the mythos isn't essential to enjoy the game, it would deepen the experience. It recommends several Cthulhu mythos books, including collections and dictionaries, for those interested in learning more. The Super Robot Wars Fan Support Project solicits fan submissions categorized by themes like enthusiasm, powerlessness, lucky, and hot-blooded. The Enthusiasm Department showcases artwork and requests for animated attack sequences. Powerlessness features humorous comics. The Lucky Department confirms subpilots will return. Hot-Blooded highlights enthusiastic messages from fans, including discussions about specific robots. A section promotes the Robination 1 Candela, a vocal collection of super robot songs. Musicians Mio and Su no Koji praise the Crade's ability to inspire courage and hope across generations. The page concludes with submission guidelines, encouraging fans to submit ideas and artwork via postcard for a chance to win a souvenir. The address for submissions is provided. This page showcases advertisements for 2 upcoming Sega Saturn games. First up is Dukyusei 2, described as a romance-adventure game. This version is a 2-disc package, slated for release in July, and priced at 7,900 yen. It's touted as another story within the Dukyusei 2 universe, and also includes a graduation album as part of the package. The game is developed by ELF and published by NEC Interchannel.
Next, we see an ad for Graduation S, a training simulation game. This is a special limited package that includes a graduation school student handbook and school badge, and is marked for release soon. It's also published by NEC Interchannel and licensed by Headroom. Both game ads are accompanied by character illustrations, hinting at the anime-style artwork typical of these titles. At the bottom, there's company information for NEC Interchannel and standard copyright and SEGA Saturn compatibility notices. SEGA Saturn Magazine's Dream Access section features reader submissions. Games of the Week discusses the Saturn version of New Theme Park and reader challenges related to the Saturn Pad. Personality showcases rebellious humor. Anger Store features slang from Kanagawa Prefecture. Sickness describes a Sega-loving music teacher using Parappa the Rapper as therapy. Senior Day highlights a student's animation/game industry ambitions, including a dream of being called Anger Store. My Mom humorously portrays a mother calling all consoles Famicom. Quite a while ago recounts a misunderstanding of the term Toban Oni and asks readers to abbreviate Last Bronx. The section concludes with photos and comments from readers, including a pair from Oita Prefecture and a person from Toyama Prefecture, and a drawing of an alien. This text highlights various aspects of the Sega Saturn community. A reader discusses the limitations of online multiplayer due to latency, making international matches difficult. Another section reviews a strategy game, praising its depth and mechanics while criticizing the lack of terrain prediction. A third section features a reader seeking game recommendations due to unemployment. The text also recounts a positive experience meeting a Sega PR representative at a toy show, emphasizing friendly interaction and promotional items. Finally, the text showcases fan-submitted manga strips covering various themes, including strategy, robots, and interpersonal relationships. This Sega Saturn magazine explores various eccentric topics. One segment investigates rumors surrounding a Tokyo individual with changing online handles. Another humorously presents the backbiting technique, supposedly ancient Egyptian wisdom. This week's That's Totally Different contrasts personalities, possibly game-related. Wonderful Strategy Guide features unusual player tips like the snack sweets and pork and satsuma juice strategies. Planner Bachan discusses comedy game creation, focusing on timing and game history. Calligraphy Pen Consultation offers a critical review of a reader's character design. Finally, Fist Release King's Ears announces new game releases, including Real Sound with a wallpaper, and Greatest 997 featuring robot pictures. This page showcases reader submissions for the Dream Museum and this week's Gasuketsu Award World sections. Dream Museum seems to be a showcase of illustrations, with categories like This Week's Best, featuring fan art of characters. One example is from Saitama Prefecture, by Kusakabe Takumi, depicting a silhouette-style illustration. Another section, This Week's Groove on Fight, highlights an illustration of a character from Groove on Fight, Guketsuji Ichizoku 3, noting the artist's interpretation and design choices. This week's Gasuketsu Award World presents reader submissions that are humorous or quirky. One selected piece depicts a scene in a Chinese restaurant, while another features a muscular character, possibly related to the Street Fighter II character Sagat. The reviewer humorously mentions the Sagat feeling and the top skater, seemingly referring to the muscular figure and another character in a separate image. Finally, the program information section provides guidelines for readers to submit their own illustrations and written content. It specifies using black ink, acceptable paper for illustrations, and required personal details like name, address, and phone number. It also hints at upcoming content and mentions judging criteria for submissions, emphasizing interesting stories and originality. The magazine seems to be encouraging reader participation and creative submissions for various sections. This page showcases a variety of 4 manga series based on popular video games. The selection includes Pocket Monsters 4, DX, based on the Game Boy's Pocket Monsters, hailed as a top 4, Nitu Shinden 4, DX, adapts the PlayStation fighting game, Battle Arena to Shinden, in a comedic style. Super Game Anthology comic series, Super Real Mahjong PV Paradise, presents a Mahjong-themed anthology. There are also multiple Toshinden anthologies,
To Shinden Anthology Comic, and To Shinden 2 Anthology Comic. Other advertised mangas include Guketsuji Ichizoku, To Chado Deike Saikyu Densetsu Anthology Comic, and Vampire Hunter Darkstalker's Revenge Anthology Comic. Each advertisement lists the price and page count for each volume, along with a list of the contributing artists. The provided text summarizes interviews and articles related to the development of the game Real Sound by Warp, primarily focusing on Ino Kenji, the company's director and president. Ino discusses the game's evolution, from conceptualization to its nearing completion, highlighting the lengthy development process which started around September, though the idea was presented to Sony earlier. He emphasizes the game's ambition to be a supreme love story, aiming for profound emotional impact and a true love story experience, distinct from typical game series. The interview with game designer Watanabe Osamu stresses the importance of detail and emotion in crafting a game that resonates with players. The text also mentions Ino's haircut and work pressures, along with details for mail submissions and a small birthday message. This page is an advertisement for a book called Otaku Amigos. It's by Okada Toshio, Karasawa Toshiichi, and Namuta Nao, featuring hot discussions by these three leading figures in the otaku world. The book also has some luxurious guest contributors, including manga artists Ito Shinpei and Terajima Reiko, illustrator Kaida Yuji, manga critics Takeuma Kentaro, and Yamanaka Hiroshi, who is an SF writer and chairman of a learned society, plus Rakugo storyteller Tatekawa Danshun and film director Nakano Tadahiro. Below this, there are adverts for two other books. One is called Dungeon Rhapsody, written and illustrated by Sakata Kaiko. It's described as a collection of columns serialized in Super 64, which became popular, with new comics and essays included. It's about Game Freak's first foray into columns and manga. The other book is Will the Game Machine Sing Daisy Daisy? By Ono Yumi, and illustrated by Mizutama Keinosuke. This one is a collection of popular columns from the Super Famicom, covering various topics from Strange Rumors to the 12 Kingdoms series, where the novelist Ono Yumi talks about games from ancient times to modern day, East and West, accompanied by illustrations from Mizutama Keinosuke. They recommend checking both books out. This document promotes Sega's official information services, specifically their magazine, Volume 3, which is the go-to source for all things Sega. The next issue releases June 13th and features Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Story. Past issues are also highlighted, showcasing games like Nights into Dreams. And Rent a Hero No. 1 SSS Sega offers various ways to stay updated, including direct news from staff via the Fukazawa Provision Information Corner. This includes the weekly JoyJoy telephone service, Fax Club, Sega Video Magazine. July issue features Last Bronx, Fighters Megamix, and Dynamite Deca, and the Flash Sega Saturn Crydrom, Volume 17 with demos of Sonic Jam and clips from Sakura Wars 2 and Willy Wombat. Additionally, Sega provides information through the Sega PasoCon Net Club on NiftyServe and the JoyJoy telephone, updated every Friday. They also provide their internet homepage address. The Sonic Stadium Q&A section features responses from Sega's CS promotion department. Questions cover Sakura Wars, character names, explaining Sakura, Maria, and Iris are flower-related, but Tachibana is a citrus tree. Another question addresses the price difference between cartridges and CD-ROMs, where cartridge games are more expensive due to the cost of ROM chips, and CD-ROMs are cheaper because of larger storage at lower costs. The Q&A also confirms region locking on the Saturn, preventing gameplay between different regions, and explains its function to prevent piracy. Sega Newsflash includes staff comments. Take-chan mentions feeling refreshed. Fukazawa promotes the upcoming Mr. Bones release with convenience store tie-ins, and Honey Hanaya enjoys Mahjong. They reveal Sega seeks employees with creativity, challenge, and consistency. Finally, the Postcard Grand Recruitment section invites reader submissions with prizes, specifically Sega Saturn modems. This page showcases the Sega Saturn Software Databank, a comprehensive list spanning from November 1994 to May 1997. It's designed as a reference for gamers to understand the current Sega Saturn software landscape and aid in purchasing decisions. The databank is presented in a table format with columns detailing the release date,
game title, developer, price, genre, reader and magazine review scores, and supported peripherals or compatibility notes. You can see a wide range of games listed, categorized by release month and year, starting with November 1994 releases like Virtua Fighter, Myst, and Wanchai Connection. It continues through various months, with titles such as Daytona USA, Pebble Beach Golf Links, and many others covering different genres like action, RPG, puzzle, and sports. The scores provided offer insights into both reader opinions and the magazine's professional review, giving a balanced perspective on game quality. The correspondence column indicates extra features or compatible peripherals, like mouse or analog controller support, and even 18 forbidden for mature titles. This page essentially serves as a detailed software catalog, a valuable resource for SEGA Saturn owners looking to explore the vast library of games available during that period. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, listing games released through March, April, May, and June of 1996. It's still in the same table format, giving you release dates, game titles, developers, prices, genres, reader and magazine review scores, and notes on compatibility and peripherals. Looking through the games, there's a wide variety, like Street Fighter 02, which we know as Street Fighter Alpha 2 internationally, alongside other titles such as Guardian Heroes, Siberia, Deathmask, and Vampire Hunter. We see the usual mix of genres, from action and RPG to puzzle and adventure games, showing the breadth of the Saturn's library during this period. There are also some golf games, fishing games, and even titles like Gotha 2 Tenku no Kishi, which seems to be a strategy RPG. It's interesting to see the reader and magazine scores together, giving a good sense of how these games were received back then. The correspondence column still points out things like mouse support, analog controller compatibility, and even some titles flagged as 18 forbidden, indicating games for mature audiences. This page continues the software databank, listing games released in July, August, September, October, and November of 1996. It's presented in a table format, detailing release dates, game titles, developers, prices, genres, reader and magazine scores, and compatibility notes. Looking at the games, there's a diverse selection. We see titles like Action Soccer, several Aquazone variations, and Deep Fear. Genres span from action and RPG to puzzle and simulation games. The reader and magazine review scores offer insights into the game's reception at the time. Compatibility notes mention things like mouse, analog controller, and RAM cartridge support, as well as peripherals like fishing controllers and even multi-taps for multiplayer. There are also genres like SHT, which likely stands for shooting games, SLG for simulation or strategy, RPG for role-playing games, and others like Puzz for puzzle, ADV for adventure, ACT for action, and etc. for others. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Software Databank, offering details on more games. The format is still a table, showing release dates, developers, prices, genres, reader and magazine review scores, and compatibility information. The game genres are diverse, including simulation, adventure, sports, puzzle, racing, table games, shooting, RPGs, and others. Among the listed titles are games such as Street Racer Extra, the horror game Deep Fear, World Advanced War, Worms, and the strategy classic Command & Conquer. The table also mentions compatibility details for accessories. This page is a continuation of the databank index for SEGA Saturn software. It's essentially a directory of games, listing titles alphabetically in Japanese, along with a software number for indexing purposes. The page is packed with game titles spanning a wide variety of genres that were available on the Saturn. You can see a huge selection from action games to simulations, puzzle games to RPGs, and everything in between. There are some big names listed here that any Saturn fan would recognize, like titles from the Virtua Fighter series, Daytona USA, Street Fighter games, Sonic Wings Special, and even the horror title Deep Fear. Strategy fans will spot Command & Conquer, and for those into classic adventures, there's Zorkid and Wizardry listed too. It's a comprehensive overview of the software library available at the time, giving you a quick reference to a massive range of gaming experiences on the SEGA Saturn. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Software Databank Index, and it's densely packed with even more game titles. You'll see a wide variety of genres represented, from action to puzzle games. There's a large section dedicated to games beginning with the letters Ha,
ba, and pa in Japanese, including titles like the Hyper series of games, which seem to be various types of sports and arcade-style games. The Virtua Fighter series has a significant presence, with many iterations and spin-offs listed, highlighting its importance on the Saturn. Continuing alphabetically through ma, ya, ra, and wa, there's a mix of genres, with titles that sound like racing games, RPGs, puzzle games, and visual novels. Series like Tokimeki Memorial, Dragon Ball, and more are also featured, showing the breadth of the Saturn's game library. It's still just a listing of games and their software numbers, so it's really just a reference index for the massive amount of software available. This page details how to fill out a survey postcard included with the magazine. It provides clear instructions on writing within the designated boxes, using numbers and avoiding smudging the card. There are examples of good and bad ways to fill in the answer boxes. The survey itself covers demographics like gender, age, school/occupation, and questions about SEGA Saturn ownership, reading habits related to computer game magazines, and opinions on the current issue. The page also includes hardware and software lists. The hardware list, Table 2, Hardware List, contains various SEGA Saturn consoles and peripherals, including different Saturn models, add-ons like the 3D controller and memory carts, and accessories like multitaps and joysticks. Table 3, Software List, continues the game index from the previous page, going through titles starting from O and Ka in Japanese. Many games are listed by their Japanese names and software numbers. Some recognizable titles include games that sound like RPGs and action titles. The list is quite extensive, showing the large library of games available for the Sega Saturn. Finally, Table 1, Articles in this issue, provides a list of articles featured in the magazine issue. The article titles cover game reviews, special features, and news related to Sega Saturn games, including specific titles and series like Princess Crown, Radiant Silvergun, and Last Bronx. It seems to highlight a variety of content from strategy guides to developer interviews. This page is part 4 of the Ultimate Technique A Go-Go Special, which is described as an ultra-consecutive super special project. And this issue is the final installment. The magazine mentions that although this compilation is ending, they will continue to cover cheat and ultimate technique information in the regular Ultimate Technique A Go-Go series, and hint at a future large special feature focusing on these techniques, possibly in about a year. The text encourages readers to collect all the information presented in this series, as it will supposedly make their games 200 times more fun, and encourages readers to enjoy TV game life. The page highlights this special as a must-keep edition project that completely covers Sega Saturn Ultimate Techniques. The image shows a cartoon drawing of a baseball coach giving instructions to a young baseball player. The coach is wearing a shirt that says Coach on the back, and the young player's cap has an F on it, and his jersey seems to read Flyers. This page is number 81. This page continues the Ultimate Technique A Go-Go Special with a section called Pantsuiyard Lagoon under the larger title Criminal Photo: What the Abducted Girls Saw. This section is all about secret techniques and cheats for Dragon Force. The page details various button combinations and in-game techniques. Some gameplay techniques are mentioned using the L and R buttons for enhanced drive and shooting modes, as well as a rolling technique for the dragon. There are also title screen codes to unlock modes like Dragon Only Mode, Kale Only Mode, which seems to focus the game on the character Kale, Wizard Mode for faster gameplay, and Invincible Mode. Other cheat codes let you select episodes, access a hidden episode 0, manipulate the Sega Logo Man animation, and even change it to a Sega Logo Girl. There are also codes for viewing different game endings, selecting homing laser types, and shot types during gameplay. Finally, there are commands to remove the pause display and an ultimate command, all designed to give players extra options and enhance their Dragon Force experience. This page details cheat codes and hidden features for several games. In Pantsuiyard Lagoon 2-Way, likely a Dragon Force sequel, unlocking Pandora's Box grants control over difficulty and other settings, tied to playtime and completion flags. Dragon Force cheats include displaying attack value and changing the radar. PD Ultraman Link unlocks CG mode and stage select. Victory Goal 96 offers replay
viewpoint manipulation, dash movements, flag changes, and a hidden commentary option. Super Major League features uniform changes, hidden scenes after wins, and a mystery referee trick. Sailor Moon Super's Various Emotion provides a code to unlock transformation scenes. Finally, Big Impact Pachinko. Great Strategy Universal Museum offers strategies for the Cranky Condor machine and codes for hidden BGM, and continues. Fighters Megamix features a variety of unlockables and hidden content. Clearing courses in one fraught mode unlocks characters like New Honey, Kids Akira, and Uraban. Further clearing unlocks options such as BGM control, invincibility, hyper mode, and training mode modifications. Pinball Graffiti has special modes: mirror mode, high score plus directional pad, changeable ball play, button combinations, and viewpoint change mode, pause plus button combinations, disable score recording. Other secrets include F14XX in BM stages, hold X on both controllers, training mode BGM select, and Deku training partner. Additional characters include Niku, bear character after raising game, and Yashi no Ki, palm tree, after playing over 84 hours. Completing all question marks in Fighters Megamix reveals suggestive images. This page is all about fighting games, specifically Fighting Illusion K1 Grand Prix and Fighting Vipers. For Kon Grand Prix, it mentions hidden characters, Ishii, Concho, and Yamato, who become available when you clear the game on level 2 or higher. Moving on to Fighting Vipers, there's a section about Pepsi Man appearing. Apparently, if you're losing badly in arcade mode, Pepsi Man suddenly shows up and you get to fight him. If you manage to beat him, you can then use Pepsi Man as a playable character. However, this Pepsi Man event only happens once. The rest of the page is dedicated to move lists for both games. For each game, the moves are categorized by stance, such as standing kicks, crouching attacks, small jumps, big jumps, middle attacks, and throws. There are also separate move lists for standing punches and crouching punches. These lists show the move, names, commands, and any conditions for execution. It's a pretty standard move list layout for fighting game guides from back then, detailing all the button combos and directional inputs for each character's special moves in these games. The next page continues the breakdown of Fighting Vipers, focusing on the move lists for the hidden characters Marler and BM that were mentioned on the previous page. This page is packed with tables detailing their various attacks, categorized by stance and attack type. You'll find sections for standing punches and kicks, middle punches and kicks, crouching punches and kicks, jump attacks both big and small, throws, wall techniques, down attacks, turning attacks, running attacks, and other miscellaneous moves. Each move is listed with its name, command inputs, and conditions for use. There's also a key explaining the symbols used in the move lists, clarifying directional inputs and button presses for punch, kick, and guard. Additionally, it mentions that clearing arcade mode unlocks an Option Plus mode with customizable settings. Finally, it reiterates how to unlock BM and Marler as playable characters, confirming you need to complete arcade mode on the very hard difficulty setting. It's a comprehensive guide to mastering these secret characters in Fighting Vipers. This page details the move list for the characters Kuma-chan and Panda, continuing the focus on character moves from the previous page. It appears to be for the same fighting game, likely Fighting Vipers, expanding on the roster beyond the human characters. Like before, the page is packed with tables breaking down their attacks by type. You've got standing punches and kicks, middle punches and kicks, crouching attacks, jump attacks split into small and large jumps, throws, wall techniques, down attacks, attacks when turning around, running attacks, and some miscellaneous moves. Each move has its name, command input, and conditions for use. The page reiterates the explanation of the symbols used for directional inputs and button commands like punch, kick, and guard. To unlock Kuma-chan and Panda, it mentions you need to play the game for 50 rounds or more. It's another comprehensive breakdown of character moves, this time focusing on these unique animal fighters. This guide reveals secrets and unlockables for Fire Pro Gaiden, Blazing Tornado. To play as Ludwig, highlight him and press L, R, B, and left simultaneously on the character select screen. Change wrestler names to Kabunoko by holding L and R at the match start. Get infinite continues in options by holding X, Y, and Z while adjusting the continue count. Activate spectator mode by holding X, Y, and Z on the pre-match screen. Unlock a stone ring by pressing A, C, X, Y, and Z while setting ring select to 04 in options. Skip to the ending in circuit mode with a specific pause button sequence. Change sound effects by pausing and pressing L and R. Unlock hidden wrestlers in Fire Pro Wrestling S6 Men's Scramble by conquering the WA Heavyweight and Junior Heavyweight Championships in Victory Road. Defeating the Hyde group unlocks more secret wrestlers. Clearing arcade mode on normal with Kuma-chan and Panda unlocks their hidden portraits. This document provides game-specific information for various SEGA Saturn titles. It includes move lists for the wrestling game Fist, outlining special moves, and their button commands for several wrestlers. Tips for Fishing Koshin explain camera controls and unlockable features like Round Select and Movie Select, as well as a 2-player battle unlock. It also suggests using specific bait for better catches and notes. 4. Feeder Remake, Emblem of Justice. Instructions detail how to obtain special items like the Calamity Edge weapon and Blade Resist armor. Finally, there's a brief mention of hidden characters in Puyo Puyo Sun, suggesting unlockable characters on the character select screen. This section details cheat codes and hidden features for various games. In Puyo Puyo, holding start while selecting characters triggers special effects. For example, Arles summons Carbuncle. Atelier mode unlocks special images in the gallery based on the Saturn's date, with dates like January 1st leading to new pictures. Button sequences on the start screen unlock Invincible mode, level select, and other enhancements. A Free Talk Studio for sound effects is unlocked by holding L and R and entering a code. Princess Maker 2 has a hidden event featuring a hedgehog, triggered by specific daughter characteristics. Finally, Blue Seed Kushinada's Secret Chronicles rewards players with red pants upon reaching Chapter 9 and visiting the shower room. Hidden features abound in SEGA Saturn games. In Professional Baseball Greatest 997, random matches, rain effects, and cursor toggles are possible. All-Star Kiyohara is stronger than his Giants counterpart. Body Special 264 has hidden scenes unlocked through gameplay, and easy content unlocks via button sequences in the menu. Pebble Beach Golf Links offers an alternate opening, demo menu, and gallery access. Hornets Ted Casino, linked to the golf game, has a poker cheat. Voice Idol Maniac's Pool Burst Story reveals a hidden gore beauty movie with a disc swap and button input. Heisei Tensai Bakaban unlocks Nora horses, a 3-ball race mode, and a 3-person mode. Mahjong Coastal Story has cheats to unlock a mysterious character, an appreciation feature, and an album mode. This text reveals hidden features in several SEGA Saturn games. In Cebu Island 96, a bonus icon is unlocked through a button combination. Mahjong Classmate Special has opponent selection and gameplay cheats like hand peeking, tile swapping, and instant wins. Mahjong Hyper Reaction R unlocks a memories option after completing story mode, enabling rewatching scenes. Mighty Hits features course and stage select codes, along with a quiz trick. My Best Friend's St. Andrew's Girls Academy Edition unlocks characters and a reverse mode with mature images. Magical Drop 2 unlocks boss and hidden characters, and 2 plot color variations via button sequences. Magic Knight Ray Earth offers photo collection events, title screen tricks, and magic use with 0 MP. Finally, Slam Jam 96 lets you play as different teams via button combinations and enables instant replays and background changes. This document details hidden features and cheats for various SEGA Saturn games. For Myst, hold A, L, and R while pressing start on the title screen to view a making-of video. Metal Slug offers a Sophia chat accessible by pressing start immediately after selecting Combat School. Metal Fighter Miku has a test mode accessed through a series of button presses in the options and continue screens. Masters. Harukanaru Augusta 3 features a demo menu activated by holding right, X, and Z while resetting. Magical Knight Ray Earth allows continuing from a game over after stage 2 by holding R and C in story mode and adds a free battle opponent with the same button combination in free battle. Mezase Idol Star Natsuhiro Memories features an extra movie function with a combination of L, R, X, Y, and Z buttons while viewing the photo gallery, and a cheat to lower an opponent's starting points by holding L and R before the match starts. Manx TT Superbike unlocks Superbike mode by placing well in certain courses. It also includes a sheep run cheat. At the bike select screen, inputting up, up, down, down, left, right, Z, Y lets you ride a sheep. This page details cheat codes and hidden features for various SEGA Saturn games. Metal Black gains extra credits with a button sequence. Metal Slug's bonus stage can be altered to increase enemy count and time. Burning Pro Baseball 95 doubleheader offers Dolphin team advantages, tornado pitcher creation, 9th inning starts, and fast throws, plus an ending sequence reset. Mortal Kombat 2 Complete Edition introduces Switches mode with gameplay effects. A story mode features background objects and stage select cheats. Monster Slider allows same character battles, playing as Claudia, and unlocks minigames and demo scenes with perfect scores. Yushun Classic Road includes expanded racing opportunities after GI wins, Super Horse mode, and gameplay shortcuts for stables and horse sorting. This document provides cheat codes and hidden features for several SEGA Saturn games. In Langrisser 2i, access a sound test with a specific button sequence on the title screen, and unlock a super shop via a button combination within the shop. Race Drivin' reveals extra options, including a replay mode and car selection, by holding L and R during the logo screen and change the camera angle with Z during gameplay. Logic Puzzle Rainbow Town allows players to see all puzzle answers and reach the ending instantly with password entries. Mega Man 8's bonus mode lets you easily view the anime demo with L plus R and start. Mega Man X3 grants the beam saber through a specific boss defeat strategy. In Rayman, a button sequence grants 99 lives. Layer section increases continues to 8 by holding a specific combination of buttons while highlighting Game Start on the title screen. This document unveils cheat codes and hidden features in several SEGA Saturn games. In Mega Man X3, obtain the Hyperchip by meeting specific conditions in Doppler's stage. World Advanced Great Strategy. Steel Storm lets you skip combat animations via the System menu. Start plus C. Other features include a UFO appearance chance, and the ability to change weather, camera angles, and spawn specific units in the Japanese campaign and India battle scenario. World Advanced Great Strategy. Operation File lets Player 1 adjust camera angles during battle scenes, with Controller 2A and DPAD. Watch the opening demo 7 times to see and control a dragon. World Heroes Perfect offers a minimum mode, X, Y, Z, and alternate colors, L, R. In Wipeout, win conditions unlock confused aerial battle, and specific button combinations at the main menu, A, B, C, Z, left for Rapier, L, R, B, Z, X, and up for Firestar. Unlock those racers. Coastal Dead Heat reveals a night course, scenario mode, a mirror course, appeal race criteria, and additional cars, scenario mode and night stage completion. Finally, Wanchai Connection allows you to access different event files via a specific button combination at the command selection screen. This page highlights several new SEGA Saturn game guides. Featured titles include a deep dive into the Gundam universe, Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden Setting Material Collection, a guide for Martian successor Nadesico, and a Theme Park Perfect Guide. The Neon Genesis Evangelion Second Impression Bible is also showcased, being a bestseller. Finally, Advanced World War, The Rise and Fall of the Millennium Empire Official Guide, promises strategy advice. Several other guides are briefly listed, including titles for Zero Yan Champ Doozy J, Sega Touring Car Championship, Graduation S, Virtua Fighter 3, and Sakura Wars, with details like page counts and prices. This page is all about Sakura Wars. It's announcing the release of Sakura Wars Hanagumi Tsushin, Sakura Wars Flower Division Communication, which is described as a Taishuera-style news program on a digital fan disc. It's packed with audio and video content, including voice actor interviews and lots of information for fans. It seems to be very popular, judging by the great sales tag. There's also an advert for Sakura Wars Taigeki Secret File, Sakura Wars Imperial Assault Secret File, priced at 1,437 yen,
and another one for Sakura Wars Original Picture and Setting Material Collection at 1,942 yen, both also marked as great sales. Finally, there's an ad for the Flower Division Battle Columns official guide for Sakura Wars, costing 933 yen. This guide seems comprehensive, covering everything from basic techniques to player character specifics and hidden skills, designed for both beginners and advanced players to fully enjoy the game. It boasts exclusive strategy tips and promises lots of fun projects. This page is the front cover of Weekly Comic Saturn Maga SEGA Saturn Magazine. It's announcing the inaugural issue as a special expanded edition. Sonic the Hedgehog is prominently featured in a dynamic pose, front and center. The cover highlights all-color 4-panel manga and game manga 13 in total. It also mentions youth spent on the controller, the flames of ambition. On the right side, there's a list of featured manga or articles, including titles like The Mournful Maiden Sega Ban Ga Die, A Certain Days Something TV Game, The Ansel Pod, Less Than Human Mutation Outside Biography Greater Than, Saturn Dream, A Kid in Three Chome Park, Chocola Great War, Marketing Research, Leave It to Risuko. Is Antarctica eventually difficult? Just kidding. Saturn-kun, Cute Little People, Development's Long Night. The cover also includes the date 1997, June 6th.13, and the price 0 yen, suggesting it might be a special introductory or free issue with a purchase. It's promoting a wide range of manga and game-related content for Sega Saturn fans. This page presents 3 short manga strips and some creator information. On the left, Mournful Maiden Sega Ban Ga Die by Shibayama Ami seems to be a comedic take on Sega themes. It stars a character that looks very much like Nights from Nights into Dreams, juggling eggs, and has a visual gag at the end with the character looking defeated and sparkly. In the middle is Marketing Research by Jenny. This strip humorously depicts market research for games, showing a person asking kids at a playground about games. It mentions that understanding what kids want is important for making games. The creator, Gini, is credited as a designer, and their representative work is F1 Grand Prix Symphony for Mega CD, which is likely referring to the F1 challenge game known internationally. Finally, on the right, Chocola Great War by Mutsuki looks to be about the game industry itself. It mentions Ray Earth, Sakura Wars, and Galge, which are likely referring to visual novel or dating sim style games popular at the time. There's a scene with someone winning a SESA Grand Prize, suggesting industry awards or recognition. The creator, Mutsuki, mentions working on Ray Earth, Sakura Wars, and Gal games, and currently being with Azel-chan, possibly referencing Panzer Dragoon Azel. This page continues a manga series featuring Sega Saturn-themed characters. 2 random Saturn Boy strips by Sasaki Tomoko depict Saturn-kun's interactions with PlayStation-kun, highlighting themes of freeloading and boasting. The first strip sees Saturn-kun annoyed by PlayStation-kun's request for a memory card. The second focuses on the creator's dizziness and Saturn-kun's frustration with PlayStation-kun. Additionally, Saturn Dream by Hanakuma Yusaku expresses a desire for a zombie game, using humorous and violent imagery reminiscent of George Romero's films. Creator information is provided. Sasaki Tomoko is from Sega, contributing to the sound of Nights into Dreams and Sega Press. Hanakuma Yusaku is a manga artist with published works, some of which are listed. This document presents 3 distinct sections, all related to Sega Enterprises and its games. Antarctica is finally in trouble humorously acknowledges a niche in-game content referencing Millennium Empire's rise and fall, showcasing a battlefield scene with tanks. Leave It to Ritsuko, a column discussing game concepts, delves into the nature of Engel, relating them to mythical gods, and suggesting similarities to apostles, using philosophical language. Finally, Long Nights of Development, Mystery Drive No, highlights the grueling reality of game development. It showcases the tireless efforts of developers, symbolized by late-night work at Sega and Cayenne, emphasizing the demanding development battles and the persistent desire for rest. This page presents a collection of humorous comics and creator profiles. Starting off, we have
J. Ansible's Dream, which is tagged as a human mutilation adventure game. The comic strip shows characters reacting with shock and horror after looking into a dark hole, likely hinting at the game's unsettling themes. Next, there's a fancy love 4-panel comic called Cute Little Person by Sasaki Tomoko. This cute strip depicts a Sega Saturn console from which a tiny character emerges and then humorously sits upon it. The last comic strip is Park in 3 Chomi by Fuyuno Saho, which seems to be a slice-of-life piece showing a child playing in a park, enjoying slides and swings, and looking forward to playing RPGs during summer vacation, mentioning nights, presumably referring to Nights into Dreams. Below the comics we have author profiles. Asuka Akio, the creator of J. Ansible's Dream, is described as a sci-fi entertainer born in 1950 who worked on The Unsolved and is active in areas like psychic phenomena and UFOs. Sasaki Tomoko's profile is on page P101, with Sega-related history detailed in issue 425 about job hunting and poverty. Finally, Tuno Saho, the creator of Park in 3 Chomi, is a cartoonist working in various publications and has a book called Su Inkuru. This page presents another installment of Comic Saturn manga, with a comic strip called A Certain Colorful TV Game by Takanaka Izumi. The comic features characters dressed in a jester outfit and a penguin suit discussing various TV games and controllers. They reminisce about 14 years worth of TV game memories, mentioning Sega of course, and also bring up games like Pengo and UFO Catcher as examples of crane game prizes, alongside a Jumbo Cactuar Baby. The strip also references 97 as the year for Sega's top recommendations, dating this content around May 1997. We also get a brief profile of the author, Takanaka Izumi, who is a manga artist from Yamanashi Prefecture with blood type B, who jokingly apologizes for not playing Sega Saturn games since Yamahikoza. This page is showcasing the latest Sega Saturn titles that are being featured in this issue. There are two main sections, one for new release titles and another for coming soon software. In the new release titles section, highlighted games include Mitten Detective's Investigation File, The Clown Murder Case, which seems to be a detective adventure, and Reach at the Beach, and Clash, Koshien, which are likely a mahjong game and a baseball sports title respectively. There's also Finalist, Wizap, Darkseid 2, Phantasm Form, and the popular arcade fighting game Marvel Superheroes. The Coming Soon software section lists titles like DX Third, Baroque, Classmates 2, Macross, Do You Remember Love? Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, a game called I Love You, Quiz Nanero Dreams, and a mahjong game called Japan Professional Mahjong League Certified Dojo Challenge. This section seems to cover a wide range of genres, from RPGs and adventure games to dating sims and quiz games. The page also features a prominent image of an anime-style girl singing into a microphone, likely representing one of the games featured, possibly related to the dating sim or quiz game genres in the Coming Soon section, or simply to add visual appeal to the game announcements. It seems like the magazine is keen to keep players updated on both recently released and highly anticipated games for the Sega Saturn. This page focuses on the new adventure game called Minton Detective's Investigation File, The Clown Murder Case. It's about a bizarre murder that occurs within a circus troupe. The game features a unique visual style, moving away from typical 3D, using detailed illustrations for backgrounds and characters, giving it an artistic feel. The story kicks off on the day of a circus performance when a magician is found murdered in his shower wagon. Detective Frank Circa Minton from London is dispatched to investigate. The gameplay involves exploring crime scenes both indoors and outdoors, questioning various circus members like the ringmaster, animal tamer, and trapeze artist to uncover clues and solve the mystery. The game uses a command selection system, allowing players to navigate and interact in a 3D space. Character expressions change using a morphing technique, and backgrounds are artistic illustrations brought to life with 3D perspective, giving a sense of depth as you move through the game world. The page emphasizes the fresh and artistic approach to visuals, making it a key feature of this adventure game. This page showcases 4 new Sega Saturn titles, with varying completion percentages indicating their development progress. First up is Beach to Reach,
a mahjong game emphasizing exaggerated Aotenyo rules for thrilling gameplay. It's described as a transition from a popular PSE title, featuring cute anime girls, and adding a romance element in this Saturn version. Screenshots display anime-style characters and mahjong gameplay. Next is Finalist, a 3D shooting game with a focus on speed and firepower. Set against a backdrop of global conflict and a lone dictator, players pilot the B-1 craft to eliminate threats and save the world. The game promises intense battles with speed boosters and power slides, showcased in screenshots of futuristic crafts and environments. Following is Gekitotsu Koshien, a high school baseball simulation game. It boasts detailed data for 4089 high school teams and realistic gameplay using 3D polygon graphics and motion-captured players. Players can edit team names and uniforms, aiming to win local tournaments and the national championship. The screenshots depict baseball gameplay in a stadium setting. Finally, there's Wiz, an action game featuring a rabbit protagonist named Wiz. It's described as a puzzle action title where Wiz, dropped into a magical world by rivals, must escape. The game uses a quarter-view perspective and involves jumping and bouncing, collecting items, and defeating enemies. The screenshots highlight the colorful, puzzle-like environments and the rabbit character in action, along with mentions of various vehicles usable in different areas of the game. This page shines a spotlight on 3 brand new titles for the Sega Saturn. First off, we have Darkseid 2, which is nearing completion at 95% and slated for an August release. This adventure game plunges you into the bizarre world inspired by H.R. Geiger, and this time, it's a murder mystery. You play as young ad producer Mike Dawson, who becomes the prime suspect after his girlfriend Rita is found murdered. The game promises a suspenseful chase as you try to clear your name. Next up is Fantasy Zone, currently at 50% completion with a release window in September. This adventure game is about a little bear named Kinch, who stumbles upon an old photo album and a mysterious red lens in his grandpa's belongings. When a gust of wind scatters the photos, Kinch embarks on an adventure in a strange town to find them and uncover the secrets of the red lens. The game looks like a charming and whimsical adventure. Lastly, Marvel Superheroes is shown at 80% completion. This fighting game brings the iconic Marvel comic characters to life in a flashy and over-the-top fighter. It highlights intense aerial combos and special moves. 2 characters are focused on here. Blackheart, described as a being born from a demon lord, and Magneto, labeled as the most dangerous mutant. The screenshots show off the action-packed gameplay with these characters in battle. This page delves into the details of Venus from the upcoming game DX Hired. She's described as a beautiful, goddess-like figure, and we get a character profile outlining her name, gender, age as 26 possibly, unknown nationality, and background as an experimental subject. Her weapon is a trident, and she is depicted as youthful and beautiful, almost divine. The page provides backstory for Venus, mentioning her mother was murdered when she was young, and that Venus is driven by revenge. She's described as appearing in the game world again with her youthful beauty and wielding a trident, seeking revenge and holding resentment towards Boy. DX Hired itself is highlighted as an action game with dynamic gameplay, where the key feature is the DX Hired cannon, which is crucial for offense. It emphasizes strategic gameplay, where players need to close in on enemies, break their guard, and utilize the cannon effectively while managing a level gauge. It warns against defensive play, recommending aggressive attacks to win. There's also a CD check section, focusing on the game's soundtrack by Rie Tanaka, who also voices a character named Karen in the game. The image song, Lost in Illusion, is highlighted, and it mentions Rie Tanaka's other work in TBS radio dramas related to the game. Finally, it mentions the DX Hired soundtrack CD is slated for release on June 18th, priced at 2,500 yen. This article previews gorgeous techniques for an upcoming fighting game, showcasing special moves for 7 characters, including Seiya, Sanjuro, Sabrina, and Schneider. These powerful techniques become available under specific conditions, often when a character is near defeat. The article highlights specific moves for 4 characters. Seiya utilizes sword-based attacks like Flame Genocide, a combo, and Flame Rush, a flurry. Sanjuro employs grapple moves, such as Earth Prison Battle and Tyrant Earth Tremor. Sabrina utilizes grappling with Sleeper Suplex and a rock-type Beauty Light Drop. Schneider demonstrates staff techniques like Asuka Cannon, Midnight Climber, and Strike Down. The overall focus is on the visually stunning special moves and their strategic use, building anticipation for the game's release. Drexherd's developers, Hiroki Shoji, Takara, and Yoshihisa Maki, Nextech, discuss the game's design philosophy. Shoji emphasizes unique fighting styles, accessibility for all player levels, and hidden elements to encourage exploration. He draws inspiration from games like Toshinden, while striving for a distinct identity. Maki highlights the core concept of freedom, with dynamic, mobile gameplay beyond traditional 3D fighters. He praises the team's technical skill and dedication to detail, including character personalities. He encourages fan creativity and hints at future content, like a soundtrack and radio drama, along with the possibility of a sequel or spin-offs based on fan demand. The text also showcases 4 fighters, Kojin, Mero, Sao Tome, and a generic move called Neck-Hanging Nightmare, demonstrating the game's emphasis on over-the-top, visually impressive techniques with unique commands and requirements. This page dives into Baroque, answering some frequently asked questions about this intriguing new title. It seems to be in early development, marked at a 35% completion rate. The article is structured as a Q&A, exploring the game's story and gameplay. They are highlighting it's not your typical game over if you die. Instead, there's a continuation after you revive, setting it apart from standard RPGs. The game is described as a real-time 3D RPG, where the situation and character reactions change with each playthrough. It also mentions that, depending on how you play, it can end quickly, or take many hours. The setting is a world destroyed by a disaster called the Great Heatwave, a world that has become distorted and grotesque. We get to see some character art, including the protagonist, an angel, and some of the grotesque forms, which are monsters in the game. Monster designs like Tank Joe and Seven Silks Joe are also mentioned, showcasing the unique and somewhat bizarre creature designs. The overall impression is that Baroque is aiming for a different RPG experience, with a focus on a distorted world and unconventional gameplay mechanics. This page continues to delve into Baroque, expanding on the details of what players can expect. It seems the game is set in a world after a disaster, and the protagonist is on a quest in the Nerve Tower. They are exploring the concept that the tower itself is a key character and is constantly changing. The gameplay will involve navigating this ever-shifting tower, battling enemies, and dealing with the reactions of other characters, which will all influence how the game progresses. Items are available to use, and some can be used to affect enemies in unexpected ways, like throwing food at them to cause various effects. The angel character is mentioned as being important to the story, and the ultimate goal is up to the player, with multiple endings possible. The article emphasizes the game's unique and non-linear approach to RPG storytelling. There's also a section highlighting the Baroque completion plan, showcasing user-submitted logos for the game. It mentions that the logos were submitted by users and lists the names of the creators alongside images of their logo designs. Finally, there's a recruitment notice for development staff at Sting, the creators of Baroque. They are seeking planners and designers for the game, inviting applications from both professionals and amateurs, asking for resumes and original works to be sent to the provided address. The deadline for title logo submissions is stated as mid-August. This page spotlights Classmates 2, a romance-adventure game told from the perspective of a free-spirited young man. It promises to depict various views on love and is packed with content across 2 crydroms. The page highlights the game's imminent release, showcasing a 99% completion rate, and mentions it's scheduled for release in July at 7,900 yen. It's described as a romance adventure for 1 player, recommended for ages 18 and up, shuttle mouse compatible, and comes on 2 sleeves. There are several screenshots displayed with in-game dialogue. One features a rather lecherous-looking older man speaking to a woman, saying something about both of them being lonely. Another shows a character named Ryunosuke encountering a girl in what appears to be a hospital. A third shows a girl named Hiroko welcoming someone. And lastly, a character named Bako declares her intention to disrupt world balance with her perverted power. A comment from producer Tachio Tabata reflects on the intense studio recording sessions and humorously notes the pressure of the approaching master deadline, with only 40 hours left. This page continues to showcase the upcoming Classmates 2. It highlights that the main story is complete, with the team expressing excitement and inviting readers to take a look at the game screens. The text mentions the sample is near final completion, boasting a 99% completion rate, and that voice recording and smooth animation are all in place. There are several screenshots displayed, each with a date, time, and price suggesting in-game scenarios. Dialogue snippets are included. One scene features Izumi remarking on a machine and someone noting an undecided path. Another shows Mr. Ketagiri pondering human connection, while Kaid expresses a homely feeling and decides to chat with someone. There's also a scene with Juko concerned about staining her bike with Ryunosuke, and Akira noticing he's unconsciously making acquaintances in his neighborhood. The page then introduces new elements for the Saturn version, mysterious woman, and new scenario. It reveals a new scenario centered around a mysterious woman, with encounters primarily occurring in Kisaragi town at night, sometimes accompanied by unsettling monologues. It mentions this woman might be familiar to those who played the original PC version, and that she initially leaves quickly, but becomes acquainted through chance encounters. The bottom left highlights character drafts specifically for this new scenario. The Classmates 2 coverage explores Ryunosuke's unique family situation. He lives with Narisawa Misako and Narisawa Yui, who are not blood relatives. 10 years prior, Ryunosuke's mother passed away, and her college friend, Misako, took over the family tea shop, Inkyo, and became his guardian. The article highlights key locations in Ryunosuke's home: his room for games, the living room for family interactions, and the Inkyo tea shop. Screenshots are provided with character dialogue. Ryunosuke is portrayed as a seemingly rough but popular student, rumored to be a playboy. While he may appear to be a troublemaker, the article hints that there's more to his personality than meets the eye. This page dives into Classmates 2 and teases the winter break theme, asking if it will be filled with unforgettable memories. It details the game's structure, breaking it down into prologue, game main part, and epilogue. The prologue, spanning 6 days from December 16th to 21 Stone, is all about setting the stage and introducing the main characters. And the game itself covers the period from December 22nd to January 6th, focusing on the winter break. Finally, there's an epilogue on January 7th. The article mentions the prologue helps players understand Ryunosuke's position in his second term of high school, and also highlights that the Saturn version of the game includes new cutscenes and content compared to the PC version. There are screenshots showcasing different scenes, including one where Ryunosuke is seemingly taking bread from a girl, and another in a classroom. The pricing and release date are also displayed, with the game set to release on December 22nd for 5,000 yen. The text emphasizes that player choices in the main game directly influence the ending, so it's up to you to create beautiful memories or unintended outcomes. Classmates 2 features Yasuhachi Town, a peaceful residential area where players can encounter characters and experience the story. The page highlights this setting with screenshots showcasing various locations and interactions. One screenshot features a girl in a blue jacket, hinting at story elements. Others show characters at a convenience store and expressing their opinions. An overall map reveals Yasuhachi's layout, emphasizing its role as a central hub. The game allows players to explore 2 towns with distinct atmospheres. The Boy Meets a Girl section introduces female characters Izumi Shinohara and Tomomi Mizuno, providing screenshots and dialogue snippets, including, "If strange rumors spread, what will you do?" and "If time stops, will we be together forever?" along with in-game details. This page of SEGA Saturn magazine delves deeper into the world of Classmates 2, introducing 4 of the high school students you'll encounter in Yasuhachi Town. First up is Kozue Suzuki, found at the tennis court on December 25th, who seems impressed with punctuality. Then there's Karen Maishima, at Yasuhachi Academy on December 23rd, who mentions feeling isolated from friends since starting school. Yoko Minamikawa is pictured at Yasuhachi Station on December 22nd, and she's someone who takes advice from Ryunosuke to heart. Lastly, we have Minori Kato at 7 Mart on December 23rd, who comes across as independent and self-reliant. The page also gives a little more detail about the locations around Yasuhachi Town. IKIOI Coffee Shop is a popular spot for girls to chat, and Ryunosuke apparently picks up the tab. The Hanahian Nursery School is new, and draws attention from cute moms dropping off their kids. Yasuhachi Station is a busy hub, 30 minutes by train from Asahimachi. 7 Mart is your standard convenience store, with staff that changes throughout the day. Yasuhachi Academy, Ryunosuke's school, sounds like a large place to explore with a gym and schoolyard. And finally, the tennis court is open to everyone, and is where the school tennis club practices. It seems these locations and characters will be central to the Classmates 2 experience in Yasuhachi Town. The next page continues our look into the world of Classmates 2, focusing on the town of Kisaragi, described as a place where nature and city quietly coexist. We get a glimpse of the town map in the top left, showing a pixelated overview of the locations. The Highlight Spots section shows us some key date locations within Kisaragi town. There's a city view spot, what looks like a shrine, and a game center, each presented with a date and time, almost like scheduled encounters or date events. These spots seem to be designed for romantic encounters within the game. Moving to Boy Meets a Girl, we're introduced to two more characters. First is Misuzu Katagiri, voiced by Sayako Katsuta. Her scene is set on December 22nd, and her dialogue hints at a romantic commitment. Next is Amy Yasuda, voiced by Miki Yamada. Her scene on December 23rd is more domestic, perhaps at home with family, and her dialogue is from her mother, who seems to be talking about the protagonist, suggesting a developing relationship. Both sections highlight the dating and relationship simulation aspects of Classmates 2. This page continues the feature on dating in Classmates 2 and spotlights 4 more of the game's beauty ladies. We get a closer look at Tanaka Misa, who is voiced by Kurogi Satomi. Her date is set for December 25th at 9:15 a.m. and costs 14,600 yen. Nagashima Kumiko, voiced by Kanai Mika, has a date on December 23rd at midnight for 15,100 yen. Then we have Nomura Misato, voiced by Mizusawa Jun. Her date is December 23rd at 10:30 a.m., costing 15,400 yen. Finally, Sugimoto Sakurako, voiced by Fukami Sane, has a date on December 22nd at 2:10 p.m. for 5,000 yen. The page also revisits the date locations introduced earlier: Studio Ataru, Takadai, Station Hotel, Kisaragi Shrine, Game Center, and Channel 9, providing further details on each location. These locations seem to be key spots for dates within Kisaragi town. The top of the page also has a Coming Soon soft banner, suggesting this is a preview of upcoming SEGA Saturn games, with Classmates 2 being one of the highlighted titles. This page reviews the game adaptation of Macross. Do You Remember Love? It details key scenes, like the special flight, where Hikaru and Minmay share a romantic moment interrupted by a warning alarm. The game's opening phase 05 covers the initial Zentradi attack, the Macross's failed fold jump, and Hikaru rescuing Minmay. It also highlights the culture clash between male and female Zentradi aboard the Macross. The game includes sections like Phase 06 Titan and an armed O2 attack sequence. The game is complete. Completion rate 100%. With a June 6th release date and a price of 6,800 yen. The review encourages readers to see movie footage and posters featuring Lin Minmay, and includes screenshots showcasing gameplay and scenes from the original anime. This preview of Macross, Do You Remember Love? Highlights gameplay phases 06 and 07. Phase 06 features a VF-1 Valkyrie trainer, forcing the player to evade enemy attacks due to locked weapons. The scene captures Hikaru's surprise at piloting a trainer. Phase 07 details a dramatic escape sequence, where Hikaru and his comrades, captured by the Zentradi, attempt to return to their Valkyries amidst an attack. Misa motivates Hikaru, and they succeed in retrieving their fighter. Hikaru then searches for Minmay, encountering a Meltrandi soldier, a female Zentradi. Screenshots showcase gameplay, dialogues, and key story moments, emphasizing the game's adaptation of the anime. The preview also mentions Fakir's arrival, and the introduction of Minmay, with new recorded lines. This page continues the preview of Macross, Do You Remember Love? And details Phase 7, titled Fakir Dies. It describes a dramatic scene where Fakir, despite heavy damage, fights against Kamjin, eventually sacrificing himself. The text mentions Fakir exhausting his strength to defeat the enemy, culminating in his fighter exploding. The story progresses with Hikaru, determined after Fakir's sacrifice, searching for Minmay. He finds her just as the Zentradi initiate a fold, causing Minmay to disappear. Hikaru's VF-1 also falls towards a nearby enemy planet. The dialogue, "Claudia please," is shown, suggesting a crucial moment involving this character. The page also introduces a new section about the proto-culture ruins, revealing that Hikaru and his comrades discover ruins on Earth after landing. These ruins explain the origins of the Zentradi and Meltrandi, revealing that proto-culture created them, and is linked to the origin of humanity as a species capable of coexistence between men and women. Images show the ruins and scenes depicting human figures, possibly representing proto-culture's influence. The page highlights that the ruins hold the key to understanding the deeper story of Macross. This page moves into Phase 08, titled Ocean in Macross. Do You Remember Love? It seems to be focusing on key moments and battles within the game. The first section, Kusunoki's death,
details a tragic event where Kusunoki dies in battle over the ocean. The text describes it as a sudden death, with his aircraft being hit directly and sinking into the sea. Next, the Meltrandi army invasion section explains the story progression. After returning to Macross, Hikaru and his comrades inform globally about Earth's ravaged state and the ruins they discovered, as well as Roy's death to Claudia. Despite the grief, the text explains that the Meltrandi launch another attack. A new squadron leader, Max, leads the Skull Squadron, but Kusunoki is shot down during a sortie over the ocean. However, a Meltrandi Quadranro soon appears, initiating a battle, and the scene shifts to the skies above Prometheus. The final section, Max vs. Melia, describes an aerial dogfight. When the battle moves to the upper atmosphere, Macross sends a transmission, reporting that Meltrandi soldiers are approaching. Then, Melia, the Meltrandi ace pilot, appears. Hikaru is initially overwhelmed, but Max, a blue Valkyrie, intervenes. He's described as a genius pilot surpassing even Fokker. Max engages Melia, drawing her away from Hikaru, and their intense dogfight begins, with both pilots acknowledging each other's skill. The text mentions they start to develop mutual respect during this encounter. The page ends with, next phase less than, risen greater than. This page showcases the upcoming release, Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, advertised as a Samurai Spirits RPG. The page highlights that the game is 90% complete and scheduled for release on June 27th, priced at 6,800 yen. The text emphasizes the game's RPG elements, mentioning it's set in the Samurai Showdown world and features original characters not seen in the fighting game series. It teases the dramatic opening demo and impressive character artwork. The reviewer seems excited about experiencing a new side of the Samurai Showdown saga through this RPG format and anticipates exploring the full story in the Final Room version. There are sections showcasing the character selection screen and option screen, giving a glimpse into the game's interface. The option screen appears to allow customization of game speed, dialogue speed, voice settings, and sound output. Overall, the page builds anticipation for Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, positioning it as a significant RPG title for Sega Saturn fans, expanding on the popular fighting game franchise with a deep narrative and fresh characters. This page continues the preview of Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, the RPG version of the fighting game series. It details the game's structure by introducing the Spiritual Awakening chapter, focusing on Nakoru, and the Demon Flower Bloodshed chapter for Genjuro, both indicating distinct storylines based on character choice. The game is set in a world separate from the previous title, and character selection dramatically changes the events and even the antagonists, moving from the Heavenly Rampage theme to facing God Mizuki. The page also showcases starting events for Haomaru and Jubei Yagyu, hinting at dramatic opening scenarios for each character. Gameplay elements are explored, such as field and town exploration, where fields are segmented and towns offer various locations like weapon and item shops. There's also a section about infiltrating the Palace of Servitude, suggesting dungeon-like areas to explore. Another feature highlighted is the Letter from Kazama, which seems to introduce a quest or story element related to Izumo and summoning. Finally, the Kyubi and Battle section touches upon battles, mentioning the Kyubi, nine-tailed fox, as a key figure in combat, possibly partnering with the player. The character selection screen is also shown, featuring Haomaru, Nakoru, Jubei, Cham, Galford, and Genjuro as playable characters. The overall tone suggests a deep and branching RPG experience within the Samurai Showdown universe. This page introduces a dating simulation game called Daisuki, a coming soon title for Sega Saturn. The game boasts a 99% completion rate and is described as a virtual partner correspondence love simulation game, which is apparently a first in the industry. It's a romance adventure where you aim to become popular with girls by raising your stats. The game is set in a near-future military academy in a space colony where you play a pilot candidate. The goal is to find a lifelong partner while navigating the hard life of military school. You start by creating your player character, setting details like name, birthday, personality, and hobbies, which influence your stats. The page then presents 6 of your classmates and subordinates who seem to be potential romantic interests. They are Oshibuchi Ran, described as pure and gentle, Koyedo Zeus B, cool and dependable, Makuru M.H. Campbell, energetic and popular; Gold, M.H. Campbell, graceful and sisterly; Shirley Shell, strong and fashionable; and Izumi Kotomi, cute and childish. Each character has a short description, highlighting their personality and appealing traits. This page continues to introduce the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Daisuki. It elaborates on the gameplay loop, highlighting the daily schedule system where you balance training and social interactions to deepen relationships. The game is set over 2 years in the academy, with events triggered by your progress and choices.
Success in the game relies on managing your stats to attract the girls.
Seasonal events are a big part of the experience, with festivals and even dates planned throughout the year, including the crucial Valentine's Day chocolate giving. The page also reveals that Daisuki isn't just a pure dating sim, but includes minigame elements. These action-based minigames appear during military drills, sports days, and athletic events, offering variety to the gameplay. Finally, it introduces 4 new characters: Biscuit, Silk, Ihir, and Gabler, who are described as teachers at the On Academy. It seems you can also build relationships with these teachers, adding another layer to the social aspect of the game, beyond just the classmates previously mentioned. The page emphasizes the abundance of Mo scenes, suggesting there's plenty of charming and cute content to enjoy.
Capcom's SEGA Saturn game, Quiz Rainbow Dreams, Rainbow Town Miracle, will feature expanded roles for characters Fairy and Ritz. Previously sub-characters, they now have dedicated scenarios. Developer Onishi discusses Fairy, a character described as suspicious and jealous, whose new story is inspired by the world of Komugiro Jiro, promising a heartwarming experience. Fairy's scenario involves her being chased by a cat, befriending the player, and adapting to human life. Her profile includes mystery surrounding her stats. Screenshots reveal gameplay, including genre selection and dialogue. The game releases June 27th for 5,800 yen, categorized as a love adventure quiz. The page encourages fans to anticipate the game and enjoy Fairy and Ritz. This page introduces Quiz Rainbow Dreams, Rainbow Town Miracle, as a game where answering quizzes is key to success. It's described as a roulette-based game, where you move around a board and answer quizzes at each stop. The main goal is to become friends with the girls in the game, so you choose who you want to pursue and play to win them over. We see a bunch of the characters here like Moritsugu Megumi, Saokane Saki, Kobato Mayumi, Charlotte, Fujikura Momoko, Shiosaki Kumiko, and Lily, each with their own little scenarios visible in the screenshots. The game mechanics are highlighted, including Slot Go and Progress Heart, which seem to be game modes or features. They also talk about the correct answer rate, quiz problems, answer time limits, and quotas and genres, which are all explained as elements within the quiz game. It's being promoted as a glamorous and lovely quiz game, emphasizing its charming and attractive qualities. This page is all about Nihon Pro Mahjong Renmei Kunin Tetsuman, which is a serious mahjong game endorsed by the Japan Professional Mahjong League. It boasts a massive database of over 10,000 actual pro mahjong player matches, aiming to let you experience authentic 4-player mahjong. The game features 2 main modes. First up is Dojo Breakthrough Mode, where you enter a dojo and face off against 3 disciples and the master over a year, aiming to exceed the master's skill. Then there's Research Mode, which is designed for analysis. It lets you review pro player data and even analyze your own gameplay turn by turn, which sounds pretty in-depth. Both modes save your data automatically, so you can really dig into your stats and improve. There's also a section highlighting 5 dojo masters await you. We see 5 dojo masters, each with their own dojo like Kuraku Dojo, Ito Dojo, Kojima Dojo, Moriyama Dojo, and Ara Dojo. Each master has a unique style. For example, Kojima Dojo emphasizes win rate, while Ara Dojo focuses on completion rate. They even have quotes from each master, giving a flavor of their personality and playing philosophy. Apparently, if you conquer all the dojos, the first 1,000 people to do so will get a special prize. The game's AI sounds quite advanced, designed to react realistically to player actions, making for a challenging experience. This page is a SEGA Saturn Software Complete Guide aiming to be a thorough guide for Sega Saturn games released after the console launched. It's designed as a helpful corner for players who might get stuck in games or just want to enjoy playing them over and over again. We can see a list of page numbers pointing to different game features. Page 134 is about Kakusei, which translates to lower class student. Page 138 features Martian successor Nadesico, and page 142 seems to cover two titles, one referencing the phrase "love wins" and the other being "groove on fight." There's an anime-style girl illustration on the left side of the page, possibly a character related to one of these games, and the page is visually decorated with blue flower-like shapes. Essentially, this looks like an index or introduction page to a guide section within the magazine, highlighting upcoming game features in the following pages. This page provides initial strategy advice for the dating sim Kakusei. It starts with Tina, a key heroine described as a pure love type, emphasizing conversation and dates. Character stats are unknown. The page then outlines strategies for other characters. Ikeki type characters like Yuki, Mayumi, Mika, Mako, and Maki require dating and conversations, sometimes with specific location visits or date punctuality. Point attack type characters, Misumi and Miori, benefit from specific event types and locations. High pride type, Yoko needs persistence. Finally, late start type characters, Ai and Shizuka, have slower affection growth, requiring specific events or relationships. Each character's strategy hinges on their love style, hinting at diverse gameplay approaches. Mayumi Tachibana from Kakusei is a seemingly rebellious high school girl who values freedom. Despite her initial aloofness, persistence is key to winning her over. She's sensitive, so avoid being overly critical. However, strategic scolding is sometimes effective. Her favorite spots include Children's Park and World's First Park. Agree with her, especially when she's being difficult. Saturdays find her in school or Kamitsuki Town, while Sundays make her harder to reach. Intimacy can be achieved early, but she doesn't blush easily. Linked to winter events. An event schedule lists locations like the Starship and the Rooftop, with various timings. Spring events can start intimacy. Winter events are crucial if you haven't achieved it by then. Yamashita Mina, a university student with a hidden life, is the focus of this character profile. Secretly, she works at an underground location. Her vital stats include a height of 157 centimeters and measurements of 8'4", 5'9", 90. She's often home on Saturdays, going out around 4 p.m. and returning late. Sundays are spent at her part-time job. Important date spots are the underground shopping arcade and amusement park. The advice is to approach conversations about secrets cautiously, aiming to be a kind boyfriend. Event schedules are provided. Spring events at Underground Shopping Arcade and Rabbit Moon Station. Summer events at Yokohama Nanpa Garden and Garden Pool. Autumn at Rabbit Moon Academy. Winter at World First Park and Love Love Hotel. All Sunday events. The profile suggests finding out her secret in autumn, using careful language, and speaking to her maturely. This guide provides information on how to romance Mitsuki Shizuka, a teacher in the game. The character's physical attributes are provided, including her height, bust, waist, and hip measurements, as well as her blood type and birthday. To win her affection, players should engage in mature conversations, avoiding overly suggestive topics, similar to building a friendship. Key locations for interaction include the Academy Corridor and Infirmary. The guide strongly emphasizes focusing exclusively on Mitsuki, as involvement with other characters, even briefly, can lead to a different romance path. Her daily routine involves school until 4 p.m., then the infirmary until 6 p.m., followed by potential encounters in Rabbit Moon Town until 9 p.m., and at her home, regardless of entry method. Seasonal event schedules list locations for potential interactions with her throughout the year. This page is a guide focused on efficiently romancing the female crew members in the Sega Saturn game mobile battleship Nadesico, with the tagline, "In the end, love wins." It presents strategies for winning over 3 characters, Misumaru Eureka, Megumi Reynard, and Haruka Minato. For each character, the guide provides a recommended date strategy procedure, listing date locations in a numbered sequence, suggesting an optimal date path to follow. It also includes situation scenarios, presenting choices players face during dates, recommending the best option to increase affection. For Eureka, a scenario involves birthday gift shopping, recommending choosing a small accessory store over a metal accessory store, and suggesting waiting here. For Megumi, in a jungle exploration scenario, it advises getting closer to her rather than kissing her cheek or ignoring her when she expresses anxiety. For Minato, facing a bartender requesting help, the guide suggests protecting this town instead of refusing outright or trying to negotiate. The page emphasizes the importance of focusing on only one girl to avoid missing out on date events, highlighting that emotional levels are crucial for success and decrease if ignored. It also mentions that for a happy ending, players need to reach the final date in Chapter 8, and a certain level of affection is required, but mistakes in choices are acceptable. The reviewer's comments within the date scene explanations offer insights into the characters' personalities and suggest playing naturally and confidently to win their hearts. This guide offers dating strategies for 3 Nadesico crew members: Irina, Subaru, and Hikaru. For Irina, the recommended path includes specific locations, with correct choices in scenarios like the deserted island scenario. Building affection early is key. Subaru's path is similarly location-based, with a crucial choice involving comforting her. She is generally easy to date, with flexible date options. Hikaru's path also has a defined route, emphasizing proactive emotional responses in scenarios like the music store scene. The guide also emphasizes date events other than dates, and encourages frequent interaction to boost affection. To prevent crew members from leaving, meet them in their introductory chapters. During battles, prioritize taking low affection characters to the bridge. This strategy minimizes the risk of losing characters and ensures the best dating outcomes. This dating guide offers tips for 2 characters, Hoshino Ruri and Maki Izumi. For Ruri, prioritize dates early, starting around Chapter 2.5 after a specific scene. Follow a date order of game center, library, hiking, etc. And remember to express your feelings honestly in dating situations. For instance, when discussing fossils, agree with her observation. Maki Izumi's affection is less obvious initially, so persevere with dates and conversations. Complete her 4 normal events by Chapter 7. Her recommended date order is fountain, sunset classroom, shopping, car, etc. Pay attention to subtle cues. In a car scene where she searches for her wallet, search with her. Despite the ambiguity, honesty in your actions is key. The dating guide continues, focusing on Hume and Inez Frissanges. For Hume, be honest and direct, but don't rush. Her affection is easy to raise, but the final date is challenging. Recommended date order: park, staff room, then the numbered circles. At the park, accept her soccer invitation. In the staff room, encourage her when she's sad. For Inez, persistence is key. While dating unlocks from Chapter 7, Megumi's actions are more influential. The recommended date order: game center, fishing spot, then numbered circles. At the game center, choose dinner is on you. At the fishing spot, teach her how to fish. This page shines the spotlight on Bristol, the hidden character in the SEGA Saturn fighting game Groove on Fight. It reveals both his pre-transformation and demonic transformed appearances, noting his slender build but emphasizing his powerful attacks. Bristol's fighting style is heavily reliant on leg-based techniques, highlighting their versatility and strength. The page showcases some of his special moves with their commands, including kick-focused attacks like the Killer Mantis and Hunting Mantis, alongside single shot and plasma blade moves. The review mentions that while his punches aren't his strong suit, his leg attacks are where his power lies, making them effective for combos and damage. Overall, Bristol is presented as a formidable character, capable of delivering significant damage quickly, making him a force to be reckoned with if underestimated. This page dives into unlocking hidden characters and the bonus Omake mode in the Saturn game Groove on Fight. If you were wondering how to get Bristol, the powerful character from the last page, it states that you need to clear arcade mode with all the regularly selectable characters. Once you do this, Bristol will become playable. The page then highlights another character, Geltheimer, who becomes available when you unlock Bristol. It mentions that pairing Geltheimer with Damien equals Shade is a strong combination. Moving on to the Omake mode, the page explains that this special mode unlocks visual content as you clear characters in the game. By progressing through the game and clearing with different fighters, you'll unlock illustrations and artwork in the Omake mode. It points out that clearing all characters will even unlock older artwork from the Kyokugenryu series within this gallery. Finally, the page briefly touches upon the illustration gallery within the Omake mode, praising the unique artistic style of Mr. Murata, noting that even his pencil sketches are excellent, and that character details and backstories are interesting to explore. This page offers a behind-the-scenes look at Sea Bass Fishing 2 by taking us to the Daiwa Seiko factory, the real-world manufacturer of fishing equipment featured in the game. We're guided by a reporter, Riko, and a cute cartoon fish character named Kamasuku, who is excited to show us around. The page highlights the factory as the actual place where fishing reels are made, emphasizing the authenticity of the Daiwa brand in the game. It's part of a series called Saitama ga Social Studies Field Trip, suggesting an educational angle. There's an interview section with product planners from Daiwa, focusing on the 3 sacred treasures of fishing: reels, rods, and lines. We hear from Tsukiji Muniaki from reel planning, Saraya Kenji from rod planning, and Ojino Yoshihide from product planning. They discuss tackle selection, usage, and give advice for anglers. They talk about different types of rods, like the Pacific Phantom, suitable for various locations, and Regal Aced reels. Line strength and drag settings are also touched upon. The page conveys that Daiwa's dedication to quality in their real-world products translates directly into the realistic fishing experience offered in Sea Bass Fishing 2. This page continues our tour of the Daiwa Seiko factory, showing us the real manufacturing process. We're still with Riko and Kamasuku, the cartoon fish, who are exploring the factory, described as a place no one has entered before. The page highlights how reels are made, from checking the parts, making the drive gear, assembling each part, inspection, and finally packaging, completing the reel-making process. They emphasize that only drive gears for the reels are made at the Tokyo factory itself, showcasing the advanced machinery used for precision. There's a section showcasing a system tackle called Surf System, developed by 3 people, which seems to be a set of fishing rods, reels, and lines designed for casting fishing. Finally, there is a super luxurious present campaign where you can win Daiwa fishing gear, specifically mentioning a saltwater kit, which includes rods, reels, and lures, perfect for sea bass fishing. It looks like they are giving away 2 sets of these kits as prizes. This page is an exclusive scoop for the massive 8-disc horror adventure game, Phantasm. It seems there are rumors of a hidden back mode in Phantasm. The article questions if the voices on the screen during gameplay are actually from the 2 main actors. It's revealed to be an interview with the voice actors, Suzuki and Nanba, who voiced the main characters. The interview is a lighthearted discussion between Suzuki and Nanba about their voice acting experience for Phantasm. They talk about the challenges of voice acting, especially for a horror game with intense scenes. Nanba jokes about being told to scream and shout, and how he initially found it difficult. Suzuki mentions being very nervous at first, especially since she was aware of Nanba's voice acting talent. They discuss how they got into character, with Suzuki saying she tried to imagine herself in the scary situations in the game. They also share funny moments from the recording sessions and their initial impressions of each other, with Suzuki being a fan of Nanba's voice work. There's a profile for Suzuki Eriko, born on October 11, 1974, listing her measurements and promoting her photo book, A Place in the Sun. It mentions she's active in various fields like race queen and gravure, and that her photo book is full of private shots. This page continues the interview with Suzuki and Nanba, the voice actors from Phantasm. They are discussing how to make the game feel more real. Nanba explains they tried to act as realistically as possible, even during scenes with lots of screaming. Suzuki mentions that she was told to scream for 3 days straight, which made her voice hoarse, while Nanba remained calm. She admires his professionalism, and Nanba talks about how he gets into character and acts out the scenes physically, even when just recording his voice. Suzuki is impressed by this, and says she also wants to try to fully immerse herself in the role. They both agree that this intense approach is important for conveying the horror in Phantasm. The page shows images of them recording their voices, with captions highlighting Suzuki's commitment to acting and Nanba's immersive approach to his role. It mentions that Phantasm is being created using detailed CG backgrounds, and that the characters and backgrounds are combined to create the final scenes. The page also mentions this footage is specially made and not from the game's back mode. Finally, there is a section announcing a present for readers. Signed color prints of Suzuki and Nanba are being given away to 3 lucky people who send in postcards to SEGA Saturn magazine. It mentions that they are posing in a Nikari pose, and that fans of Suzuki should definitely apply.
This page delves deeper into the terrifying world of Phantasm, emphasizing its horrific and gruesome nature. The page header screams, "Fear's Succession," asking readers how much of the horror they can stomach. It highlights that Phantasm is the source of fear, showcasing scenes so disturbing you'll want to look away. They're even previewing special development screenshots. The text emphasizes the game's shocking content, questioning if you can keep your eyes open while watching Adrian's ordeal. It teases the player, wondering what fate awaits her beautiful face, and discussing game-over scenarios based on choices. There's a section titled, "Gradually Going Mad. If you're going to laugh, do it now," hinting at Adrian's deteriorating mental state after unleashing something sinister at the end of Chapter 1. It suggests things are going very wrong for her. Another section, "Don't Go Outside," further builds suspense and fear, with a character seemingly warning Adrian to stay indoors. The screenshots illustrate various in-game moments, contrasting a seemingly peaceful picnic scene with much darker and more disturbing events unfolding within a mansion, reinforcing the game's horror theme. Overall, the page really pushes the game's fear factor and suspense. This article examines the intersection of comics and animation with commerce in the American digital age, contrasting it with the Japanese manga scene. It highlights the Digiana manga situation and explores how American newspapers are leveraging comics. Newspaper companies are now selling original merchandise, similar to museum shops, as a strategy to engage readers. The piece then delves into animation art, showcasing shops like Animation USA that sell animation cells and limited edition prints as art pieces, sometimes reaching prices of $600. Finally, it discusses the global popularity of Japanese animation, Japanimation, the growing online presence with scanned images, and the existence of shops selling related laserdiscs and creds, catering to fans of original Japanese content. The article's visuals feature examples of both American and Japanese animation-related businesses. This page dives into Advanced World War, Millennium Empire's Demise, a strategy game that looks at the Mediterranean and North Africa campaigns during World War II. The article focuses on the problems caused by Italy's involvement for Germany. It explains how Italy foolishly joined the war, expecting easy gains after Germany's successes in France. But Italy was unprepared, and their military was weak. This forced Germany to divert resources to support Italy in places like Albania and Libya, hindering their own war efforts. The article highlights the strategic importance of Malta, a British stronghold that disrupted German and Italian supply lines in North Africa. If Germany had captured Malta, they might have secured vital supplies and possibly driven the British out of North Africa. There's also a section dedicated to Erwin Rommel, the famous Desert Fox, emphasizing his role as commander of the German Afrika Korps and his reputation for fighting against superior British forces. It mentions his early career and his later successes leading armored divisions. We also see a game screenshot showing the interface with unit stats like attack, defense, level, and experience. The writer, Naoyuki Kawano, mentions his love for war and aircraft simulation games and seems excited about this game, especially how it features German battleships. He also jokingly mentions his desire to find love like a character from Martian successor Nadesico, a popular anime at the time. This page continues the strategy guide for Advanced World War, Millennium Empire's Demise, focusing on 2 new maps. First up is Map 63, North Atlantic Battle, where the goal is for the German forces to cross the Atlantic and invade Canada. The key to victory here is mastering naval and air power, as you're limited to just 4 anti-aircraft guns. The guide emphasizes that success hinges on your sea and air unit deployments. Next we have Map 64, Towards Complete Victory, also set in Canada. The strategy here is to capture key cities in a specific order, starting with city marked 1, then moving to Washington and New York, labeled 4 and 3 respectively, and finally taking Detroit at 5. The guide points out that Allied air power is weak on this map, but also highlights that your own air force needs to be upgraded before tackling this scenario to really secure victory. There's also a pro tips section about new weapon displays and how to defend against powerful enemy bombers, like the B-29 and B-36. These bombers are tough to deal with, so the advice is to position units strategically for defense and prioritize protecting ground units from air attacks. They mention American tanks too, and how bombing is the key to taking them out. Lastly, it seems they are asking for reader feedback, inviting postcards to SEGA Saturn Magazine at their Tokyo address. This page from SNK World 97 is dedicated to SNK game information and fan engagement. It highlights perfect file editions of games like PC ports for Windows 95 and Macintosh, detailing system requirements. A key feature is a Samurai Heart Test quiz based on Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, testing fans' knowledge of the game's lore. Another advertisement for The King of Fighters 96 Perfect File for PC showcases enhanced graphics and extra content. The page also features fan sections, including a birthday celebration for Cham Cham with fan art, and a Samurai Spirits Freaks gathering place, showcasing illustrations and comments. SNK is actively soliciting fan submissions and provides a Tokyo address for contributions. This page announces an illustration contest for Samurai Showdown RPG, known in English as Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage, timed around its upcoming release. The contest is seeking color illustrations of characters from the game to be submitted on postcard-size paper with a deadline of July 14th. Entrants are asked to send their submissions to the given Tokyo address and include their name and address. Exciting prizes are on offer for winning entries, including Samurai Showdown RPG goods. The page is visually packed with artwork of popular characters from the Samurai Showdown series, setting the tone for the contest and highlighting the game's cast. It's a great way for fans to engage with the new RPG and show their artistic talents. This page is all about Athena Asamiya in King of Fighters 96, diving into character-specific strategies. It's from Volume 9 of a character series. The page highlights Athena as a character who excels at mid-range combat. The core strategy revolves around using her Psycho Ball and Phoenix Arrow attacks to control space and pressure opponents. It emphasizes using the weak Phoenix Arrow from the air to initiate offense, and then following up with ground combos like weak Phoenix Arrow into Psycho Ball. For basic tactics, it recommends maintaining a comfortable distance and using standing strong punch, jump attacks, and standing strong kick to keep the opponent at bay. When facing predictable low attacks, the strategy guide advises countering with a standing strong kick. For advanced play, it suggests reading the opponent's moves and using Crystal Bit for counterattacks and Psychic Teleport to confuse them. If you anticipate an incoming Psycho Ball guard, the guide recommends using the Psycho Sword. It also mentions using the Psychic Teleport to create mix-up opportunities and get behind the opponent, as well as utilizing roll-behind tactics and overlapping attacks for pressure. The page breaks down some basic continuous techniques too, like starting with a crouching weak kick, then linking into crouching strong kick, and finally a strong Psycho Sword. It also talks about creating mind games by making the opponent guess your guard direction with various attack patterns. Overall, it's a pretty comprehensive guide for players looking to master Athena in King of Fighters 96. This page introduces Garp's Island story, showcasing the main character Garp, illustrated prominently in the center of the page. We get a word from the graphic designer, who remarks about Garp's design, especially the left and right patterns. The designer mentions the challenges of representing multi-jointed characters within the limitations of the Mega Drive, but also highlights the improvements for the Saturn. Below the illustration, we delve into Garp's background. He's described as Yanyani Garp, a dragon person who has lived through many previous lives and evolved. Despite being called Dragon Person, he isn't very dragon-like and is more of a floating entity. Garp is known for being thoughtful and curious, earning him the nickname Garp the Doctor. And he is interested in various subjects like creatures, plants, legends, and ruins. The article mentions that the game, Garp's Island Story, is part of the world created by Kita Amemiya, and this series will introduce characters and the game world leading up to the software's release. The articles aim to showcase the world of Amiya through illustrations and graphics. This analysis focuses on the Virtual-On Drama CD Volume 2, Counterpoint 009A, a variety disc featuring songs and drama centered on Fairy Ian, voiced by Tomoko Kaneda. Released swiftly, it highlighted the active development of the Virtual-On project before the sequel's release. The CD features a stellar voice cast, including Mitsu Ishizuka and Kotono Mitsuishi. A key element is the Fairy Akian Strengthening Project, with interviews featuring Dr. He explains Kaneda's selection as a stage actress aiming for Ian to uniquely fit within the virtual Lenyon world. A column section discusses a possible Virtualon anime adaptation, acknowledging fan and development team interest. While cautious, Drive Watari suggests a focus on quality, hinting at a potential animation project. The article concludes with a picture of Kaneda as Smarty-chan, the project's heroine. This page continues the focus on the Virtualon project and the drama CD Counterpoint 009A. It features an interview with Dr. Watari, who talks about wanting Virtualon, to be something that sticks with you, like a fishbone in your throat, an unforgettable feeling. He discusses character development and the voice acting of Tomoko Kaneda, Fairy Ian, emphasizing her ability to bring a unique power to the role. He notes that she is still in high school and is expected to continue to evolve the character. The page also highlights a giveaway of voice actor signed original Vasharan prints. The voice actors mentioned are Tomoko Higuchi, likely a typo for Yamaguchi Tomoko, Katsuhira Yamaguchi, and Mitsu Ishizuka. These signed prints appear to be based on CG artwork from Counterpoint 009A. The page mentions a present for 3 readers of autographed Vacharon CG original prints signed by Tomoko Higuchi, Mitsu Ishizuka, and Katsuhira Yamaguchi. There's also information about a CD release event scheduled for June 1st at the Akihabara Yamagiwa Soft Building, 8th floor event hall. This event is to commemorate the release of the CD and will feature appearances by Tomoko Higuchi, Drive Watari, Tetsujin Ozaki, and Ari Gasho. The tagline encourages people to get the CD at Yamagiwa. This page from SEGA AM3 R&D Department focuses on providing tips and tricks for mastering high scores in the SEGA Saturn skateboarding game Top Skater. The article is titled Trick Grade and Point Delicate Relationship and is about the mechanics of trick grades in the game. It explains that the trick grade you achieve, from S to E, depends on when you input commands on the jump ramp. Inputting commands at the very edge of the ramp allows for higher grade tricks. There are example screenshots showing each trick grade, from the top S grade, which is apparently 120% cool, down to the bottom E grade, which is only 5% cool, and described as the worst grade. Each grade also has a point value associated with it. There's also a section called Director Sugano's 1-point lecture, where he advises players to choose their character wisely for high scores. He mentions that character height differences subtly affect input timing. Apparently, character Ash makes it hard to get S ranks, whereas character J makes it easier. He suggests picking a character that suits your current physical condition for the day to aim for high scores. Another tip is that performing tricks increases your speed, making the timing for subsequent tricks more sensitive. Top skater scoring depends on trick grade, speed, and multipliers. Higher grades require faster speeds and steeper angles. Your score is calculated from a base grade point, speed points, and multiplied by input method and combo multipliers. Slides earn more points than ollies, even at the same grade. Combos significantly boost scores. A beginner's Q&A section advises on stabilization using nollie inputs, highlights unique character tricks, and reveals that achieving an overall S rank unlocks the ending. For S ranks on banks, the in-run technique, ollie mid-bank then jump, is suggested, but requires a good angle to avoid crashing. This page is all about a heated Virtua Fighter 3 tournament called the Java T-Battle Koshien, focusing on the preliminary rounds held at GameSpot 21. It was a big event, with both open and ladies classes for players to compete in. Entry was free for the first 32 people who showed up with a Java tea drink, which sounds like a popular drink sponsor. The atmosphere at GameSpot 21 was electric, so much so that the crowd of spectators got so big they had to be moved. The page highlights the winners of both categories. For the open class, the champion is Chibita, also known as Eiji Komatsu, who jokingly said even strong players struggled against him. The ladies' class was won by Shibuya Jakiko, or Wakako Yamamura, who mentioned she thought she might lose, but sticking to her own pace helped her win. The content section at the top also mentions coverage of the store preliminaries and a Virtua Cop 2 high-score contest. This page announces the results of the Virtua Cop 2 high-score contest. The winner is Yoshiko Kotu from Fukushima, with an impressive score of 20,103,700 points.
The page includes a short interview with Yoshiko, who mentions playing about 3 hours a day and having played since the arcade version. She prefers playing on the 2P side due to visibility issues on the 1P side, and didn't expect to win, despite aiming for the top spot. Below this section is the AM2 Research Gallery, showcasing fan-submitted artwork. It features illustrations of characters from AM2 games. We can see Akira Yuki from Virtua Fighter, Shun Di, also from Virtua Fighter, Jackie Bryant, also from Virtua Fighter, and a group illustration with various characters in a school setting. Each artwork has a short comment from the editorial team. Finally, there's a section calling for postcard submissions, offering a special t-shirt as a prize drawn from entrants. It mentions that AM2 Research will directly answer questions and opinions sent in, potentially influencing future game development. The t-shirt design features artwork from AM2 games, including Virtua Fighter. Secret Technica Go! Go! Reveals hidden techniques for SEGA Saturn games. In Andretti Racing, King Spritz 2, players can alter car textures with button and D-pad combinations. Monster Slider has a stage select cheat and a witch appearance trick. Oicidal Maniac's Pool Burst story allows you to view special movies. A hidden mole-whacking minigame is accessible in some games' sound test menus. Players can also enable same-character battles in versus modes by holding L and R during character selection. Finally, you can play as the final boss, Claudia, in a particular game by using a specific character and button combination. The page encourages readers to submit their own secrets for prizes. This page is a software review spread from a magazine featuring 3 games for the Sega Saturn. First up is 3 Dirty Dwarves, an action game slated for release on May 30th. Reviewers praise its effortless controls and exhilarating action, noting a revival system, but some found it a little too simplistic or easy, giving it an average score of 6.66. Next is Game Heaven, a shooting game releasing on June 6th, which achieved a high score of 8.0. The reviewers really enjoyed its original game mode, well-crafted shooting gameplay, and addictive time attack feature. Finally, there's Mookie, another action game which scored a 7. The reviewers highlighted its unique attack methods, parody-filled content, and the option to switch screen orientation. While some reviewers felt the enemy attacks could be relentless, the game was generally considered humorous and enjoyable. The reviews are broken down into perspectives from the Lady Users Group, the Game Mania Group, and guest game writers, each providing their scores and comments. This document outlines the new soft schedule of upcoming Sega Saturn game releases, detailing games from late May through August and beyond. It explains how to interpret the page, including genre abbreviations, compatible peripherals, and age ratings. Releases are organized by month, with June featuring titles like Impact Racing and Game Tengoku, alongside Sega Saturn Collection re-releases at lower prices. July includes games such as Moon Cradle and Marvel Superheroes. August features Rockman X4 and Virus, as well as several unreleased titles like NHL 98 and Dark Seed 2. The schedule differentiates between new releases and re-releases, providing a comprehensive overview of anticipated game releases. This page continues the new soft schedule, listing upcoming Sega Saturn game releases from September onwards and into 1997. It's laid out in tables showing release month, game title, price, developer, genre, and compatibility. September highlights include puzzle games like Lysine Puzzle Land, action titles like Image Fight and X Multiply, and timed releases like Time Bokan series, Bokan to Ipatsu, Doran Bokan Pekihen. Moving into October, we see titles such as Silhouette Mirage and Fanform, tentative title. November lists Fanform again as tentative and granted. December includes Falcom Classics collections. The schedule continues into summer and autumn with more games listed. Autumn sees the highly anticipated X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Guilty Gear, alongside titles like Tactical Fighter, Zeidnerschild, and Riven, the sequel to Myst. The 97-year section is packed with titles across various genres, from RPGs like Farland Story, The Land of Dragon Castle and Wizard's Harmony 2, to action games like All-Star Baseball and Battlesport, and even puzzle games. There's a wide variety of games listed here, suggesting a strong lineup of software planned well into the next year. This page delves into the subtle relationship between games and art, suggesting that there's more to it than meets the eye, particularly when considering pinball. The article uses Digital Pinball Last Gladiators, as an example, showing a screenshot of the game. It argues that symmetrical designs, like those found in pinball machines, can evoke a sense of religious awe. The author draws a parallel between the feeling of facing a pinball table and religious devotion. They explore the basic elements of games, like hitting a ball, using pinball as a prime example of this fundamental action. The article reflects on the enjoyment of pinball, focusing on the satisfying moment of hitting the ball with the flippers. It connects the two flippers in pinball to the guardian statues often found at temple gates in Buddhism, noting the symmetry. The author concludes that pinball possesses game-like, religious, and even literary qualities, highlighting the deeper aspects beyond just simple entertainment. This page is dedicated to Reader Presents in SEGA Saturn Magazine, announcing the winners from their May 2nd issue survey. They've got a great selection of prizes. 20 lucky readers will receive SEGA Saturn games, 5 will get graduation crossword setting materials, and 1 person will receive a signed color paper by voice actresses Inui Kikuko and Sakamoto Maya. There are also prizes like the Unresolved t-shirt and cap sets for 3 people, Martian Successor Nadesico posters for 5, and a God Arms figure for 1 more winner. We get a glimpse of some of the prizes, with images including King of Spirits 2, a Sakura Wars autographed paper, Hironobu Kageyama t-shirts, and the Nadesico poster. Beyond the prize announcements, there's a staff list for the magazine and an information section teasing the next issue. It will feature a radio program and new details about Atlas games and Real Sound. Issue 6/20 is coming out on June 6th. Don't miss it. A contact number is provided for any questions. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn game Falling Game Designer, Tsukute Pon, which is advertised as a puzzle construction tool. It's described as a rumored falling game, and the page highlights a central anime-style character designed by Akei Takami and voiced by Miyamura Yuko. The tagline, "Make and Pawn," suggests a creative and fun puzzle-making experience. This game from Pack & Soft is scheduled for release in August 1997 and will cost 5,800 yen before tax. Falling Game Designer, Tsukute Pon, is an upcoming game creation tool launching in June, designed for anyone to easily create their own falling puzzle games. The tool emphasizes ease of use, guided by the cute fairy Elfa, voiced by Miyamura Yuko, potentially usable in your games. You can customize all aspects, from titles and backgrounds to enemy characters and game mechanics. Screenshots showcase extensive customization options, including block types, gravity, and field design, offering an ultimate designer mode. A puzzle game designer contest will be held, offering a chance for the best creators to become game designers for future titles. The game's character design is by Akei Takami. This page showcases the game Three Dirty Dwarves, described as an American-style comical action title for SEGA Saturn. The page is filled with vibrant artwork and screenshots from the game. It highlights the action-packed gameplay where you smash enemies and their friends, living the life of a dwarf. The game is promoted as an action game for 1 to 3 players, and is tagged with phrases like, "This is cool." The advertisement features cartoonish characters and action scenes from the game, showing what appears to be beat-em-up style gameplay with platforming elements. There's a promotional text box that talks about reading manga-like comics and experiencing game development, claiming it's not boring, and is on sale for 5,800 yen. The bottom of the page also has typical SEGA Saturn magazine information like the issue number and price.